Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto becomes Konoha Pervy Sage Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for Part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Naruto Uzumaki, newly minted genin of Konoha, sat on the edge of his bed, looking down at his hands. Earlier that night, he had heard the truth, the horrible, horrible truth, and oddly, he felt better for it. At last, he knew the reason for all of the glares, for all of the harshly whispered insults, all of those years of loneliness. It was because of Mizuki team, and later, Old Man Hokage, that he learned the truth. Sealed inside of Naruto was the nine-tailed demon fox, Kyubi no Kitsune. 2 hours earlier, office of the Hokage. Naruto stood, fidgeting uneasily in front of the Hokage, who was standing before the boy, looking down at him with contemplating eyes as he puffed on his pipe. GG, Naruto started, only to be hushed as Sarutobi held up a hand to silence him, still looking at him with that unreadable expression. Finally, when Naruto thought he couldn't take any more of the silence, Sarutobi closed his eyes and let out a long sigh, blowing a cloud of tobacco smoke as he did so. Naruto, he started. What you did tonight was very, very foolish. That scroll that you took contains many forbidden and deadly jutsu, which, if they were ever to fall in the wrong hands, could bring untold catastrophe. Hey Dash! Naruto started to interrupt, only to be stopped once again as Sarutobi raised his hand. But the old man continued, taking a long pull on his pipe. You only did what you were ordered by your teacher and superior, so I cannot blame you, and I will not hold it against you. None of us suspected Mizuki to be a traitor. However, when you did find out, both you and Irika did your utmost to stop him and protect both yourselves and the scroll. You did very well, and displayed that you have what it takes to be a ninja of our village. Thereby, I shall support Irika's decision to pass you, he said, a smirk creeping onto his face. Naruto's eyes widened a bit at that proclamation. Really? Thanks, Gigi, you're the greatest! He exclaimed, nearly jumping in his excitement. Sarutobi chuckled at that. No, Naruto, I am the one who should be thanking you, he replied. Naruto stopped at that, tilting his head to the side in confusion. Really? How come? He asked, curious. Sarutobi's smirk grew. Not only did you manage to root out a traitor, even if unwittingly, you also showed that the ninja who were on duty guarding this tower, which houses many important secrets pertaining to the security of this village, have been lax. After all, if they weren't able to spot a lone genin in bright orange, Naruto pouted at that. However skilled you may be, then what's to say they would notice if an enemy infiltration specialist jonin from breaking in and wreaking havoc on our village's security? No, the guards won't be happy, but they will learn to take their posts seriously. Good work, Naruto, he complimented. Naruto grinned at the praise. Thanks, old man. At this rate I'll have your hat yet, he jeered jokingly. Sarutobi snorted in amusement, blowing another plume of fragrant tobacco smoke before his features took on a more serious demeanor. There is something even more important that we need to take care of, Naruto. Please take a seat. He gestured towards a low table where a servant had discreetly set out a tray of tea and some small cakes. Taking a seat, Sarutobi poured himself a cup. Huh? What is it? Naruto asked, taking a seat across from the old man and grabbing one of the cakes, which he studied, sniffed once, then took a bite of. Sarutobi sighed, looking down into his cup. It's about what Mizuki told you about the Kyubi, he answered, his gaze cutting back up to Naruto, who stopped stuffing his face in favor of giving the old man a shocked look. Suso, it really is true? It's really true? The fourth Hokage couldn't kill the demon, so he put it in me? Naruto gulped, his eyes widening considerably. I am I. You are not the Kyubi, so get that ridiculous thought out of your head, Sarutobi snapped, though not unkindly. It is true that the hero of Konoha, Lord Hokage IV, was unable to kill the Kyubi on that night 12 years ago. What he did instead was choose a newborn infant, because nothing else would be able to hold the power of the mighty beast, and use the most powerful sealing technique ever created to imprison the beast within, with you as its sole jailer, Naruto, and as long as you remain strong, you keep our village, even our very world, safe from its evil, he answered gravely. Despite the gravity of the situation, Naruto couldn't help but feel a little better. Heh, thanks, old man, he said gratefully. So what did you think about my first original technique, sexy jutsu? He asked slyly, hoping to lighten the mood. Sarutobi chuckled in amusement. That technique, it's the most lowbrow kind of trash, completely unsuited for any serious situation, he trailed off, seeing Naruto's face fall a little. And it is completely brilliant, it took even me by surprise. Good job, he finished with a praise. Naruto perked up, beaming at Sarutobi. Awesome! Hey, you know that I also learned Shadow Clone in no time at all, right? He asked suggestively. Yes? Sarutobi asked, wondering where Naruto was going with all of this. Naruto's grin grew even wider. Then can I please have another look at the scroll of forbidden jutsu? He pleaded, giving Sarutobi his best puppy eyes. Denied. The old man barked out, karate chopping Naruto's head. Present time. And so here Naruto was, 2 hours later laying on his bed, his mind awhirl with everything that had happened. Finally, Naruto stood up and walked over to the sole body-length mirror in his apartment, taking off his shirt as he stared at himself, looking into his reflection's crystal blue eyes before they drifted lower towards his stomach. Concentrating, Naruto generated enough chakra for the seal to appear. I've always wondered what you were, Naruto remarked quietly, rubbing the seal with one hand. And now I know Kyuubi and I'm your prison. With a sigh, Naruto walked back to his bed, grabbing his nightcap and pulling it on before flicking the lights off and laying down. One hand DD across his stomach, where the seal was still visible. Cold water surrounded him, causing Naruto to sit up suddenly, his eyes going wide as he let out a little shriek, having been taken completely by surprise by the water that now soaked his legs and back. Taking in his surroundings, Naruto saw that he was standing inside of a large stone chamber, ankle-deep water lapping over his feet. Where am I? He yelled, his voice echoing in the dimly lit chamber. So, the little monkey finally decides to grace me with his almighty presence. A cold chill ran down Naruto's back upon hearing such a rumbling, ominous voice. Whirling around, he came face to face with a monstrously large, intricately crafted cage, with a slip of paper with the kanji 4 seal placed on the front of it. And directly behind those bars was a titanic shadowy figure, 2 eyes, as red as hellfire, glowing in the darkness as they glared at him. There could only be one answer. You're the Kyuubi no Kitsune, Naruto said solemnly, looking up in awe at the powerful figure before him. The great demon smirked, lowering itself down closer to Naruto, who was finally able to make out its monstrous features. Well, looks like you aren't completely moronic after all. It snorted condescendingly. What do you want, little monkey? Naruto blinked at that. Hey, I don't want anything. I don't even know how I got here, he yelled back at the beast. This caused the Kyuubi to bellow laughter. You don't even know how you got here? You are totally inept. Stupid, pitiful mortal. I would feel sorry for you, if your kind didn't make for such tasty snacks. It continued, laughing even harder. Naruto went red-faced with indignation over that. Who do you think you are, calling me useless and a snack, huh? You overgrown throw rug, he yelled angrily. Kyuubi snorted, still chuckling. I am the almighty Kyuubi, you insignificant little flea, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. It jeered, leaning closer. Naruto harumphed, crossing his arms, before a thought crossed his mind, and a wicked grin split his face. Oh yeah? He leered back. I can do this. He whirled around, dropping his pants and bending over slightly, mooning the Kyuubi. How's this for doing something, you big stupid fox? Kiss my ass, fuzzball! He shouted gleefully, smacking his butt a few times to accentuate his point. You stupid little shit! I'll kill you! The Kyuubi roared angrily, slamming impotently into his cage over and over. Looking to the side, Naruto spotted a doorway. Haha. You can't do anything about it. He laughed, pulling up his pants and flipping the Kyuubi the bird as he ran out the door, back to the real world. The Kyuubi watched him go through narrowed eyes. Just you wait, human. I'll pay you back for that humiliation 100-fold. It rumbled, chuckling ominously as it faded back into the darkness. Naruto snapped bolt upright in his bed, gasping deeply as he grabbed his chest, panting lightly. So, that was the Kyuubi, what an annoying jerk. He grouched, flopping back down on his pillow. Laying there for several minutes, staring at the ceiling, Naruto finally let out an annoyed grunt, sitting back up. Ah man! There's no way I can get back to sleep after something like that, he complained, getting to his feet. Looking out of his window, Naruto gazed at Konoha, which shimmered beautifully under the light of the full moon, completely at peace, at least for the moment. Moments later found Naruto strolling along at an easy pace through the moon-washed streets of the village proper, hands stuffed deep in his pockets as he listened to the sounds of the nightlife, crickets chirping, bullfrogs bellowing their croaks, a nightingale twittering its nocturnal song, bottles clanking together. Yes, the night was truly one of Naruto's favorite times. No one was around to give him those cold looks. Wait, what had that last sound been? There it was again. Looking in the direction that he heard the sound from, Naruto spotted none other than Kiba Inuzuka, a kid from his class, emerge from an alleyway, his puppy Akamaru on top of his head, holding 2 brown bottles in each of his hands, and a shit-eating grin on his face. What in the heck was he doing? Curious, Naruto trotted towards his classmate. Hey Kiba! What's up? He called out, waving. Kiba, for his part, looked up from his pilfered prize, surprised. Naruto? What are you doing out this late? He asked. Naruto shrugged. I couldn't sleep, so I decided to take a walk. He replied easily. What about you, man? Why are you sneaking around like that? Kiba grinned slyly. I'm celebrating becoming a genin, he exclaimed proudly. Hey though, I'm sorry you didn't pass, man, that's a real shame. He continued consolingly. Naruto himself grinned at that. Wrong about that one. I got promoted anyway. He showed off the headband that Irika had given him. Kiba gawked at that. Really? How'd you manage that? Surely they didn't let you take the test again? He asked, a suspicious tone in his voice. Naruto shook his head, crossing his arms in an X motion. No way. Mizuki-teen tried to steal something important to the village and run off, and I helped catch him, so both Irika-sensei and Hokage Gigi let me pass. He bragged proudly. Kiba's eyes widened at that. Really? Mizuki-sensei tried to abandon the village? He asked, flabbergasted to an Inuzuka. Betrayal like that was unthinkable. Unforgivable. Naruto nodded, crossing his arms over his chest. Yeah, I was surprised too. But that bastard even went as far as to try and kill me and Irika-sensei. But we were able to stop him, so it's all good, and I'm a genin now. Kiba grinned. Well, congratulations, man. Why don't ya come and celebrate with me and Akamaru? I got beer, he exclaimed, holding up the bottles in his hands. Naruto's eyes widened comically at that. You got beer? Really? Kiba's grin grew wider. Yep. I swiped it from my mom's cabinet. Cool. What's beer? The Inuzuka almost face-faulted at that, sweat dropping. What do you mean, what's beer? Beer is beer, stupid! He yelled indignantly, waving the bottles around for emphasis. Naruto nodded, squinting foxily. Yeah, I got that, but what is it? Kiba's sweat drop grew a bit. It's how you know, that's a pretty good question, he muttered, earning a sweat drop and a deadpan from Naruto. But a mom is always drinking it whenever she complains about a hard day, or if she's celebrating something. He huffed, trying to defend himself. Naruto shrugged. Works for me, he replied, taking an offered bottle while Akamaru jumped off of Kiba's head and began to run around the two, yipping excitedly. Kiba grinned as he and Naruto crouched down close together, clinking their bottles together. To becoming real ninja, he cheered, clapping Naruto on the back, who grinned. As one, the two ninja wannabe popped the caps off of their drinks, taking a deep sniff. Oh Kami, that smells pretty rank, Naruto groused, his nose wrinkling in faint disgust. Yeah, Kiba agreed. But hey, maybe it tastes good? He wondered hopefully. Gulping, the two boys nodded to each other once, and began to raise the bottles, when Kiba noticed Akamaru backing away, whimpering as he cowered. Hey boy, what's the matter? He asked. So, you little brat, you wanna steal my beer? An ominous shadow fell over the boys as the gruff female voice froze them to their spots. Oh, Kiba started. Shit, Naruto finished for him as they both slowly turned their heads, seeing a towering, ominous figure, silhouetted against the moonlight, wild untamed hair blowing out in the wind. Mommy! Kiba screeched shrilly, trying to bolt only to have his mother, Tsum, a feral-looking woman who radiated a savage beauty, reach out and grab him by his head, forcing him back in place. Oh Kami, oh shit, oh we're so dead, he whimpered, which increased as his mother grinned evilly. Naruto looked up at Kiba's mother with no small amount of awe. Her bearing commanded nothing short of total respect and fear. Yeah, it looks like you're in pretty big trouble, man. He laughed nervously. Tsum's glare switched to Naruto, who flinched. That so? She asked coldly. Those eyes, Naruto flinched back. She was glaring at him, everyone was always glaring at him. Yeah? Later, Kiba. He replied defiantly while looking at Tsum, plastering a fake grin on as he turned around, raising one hand to wave dismissively. A firm hand clamped down on Naruto's skull, causing him to yelp in surprise as his head was forcefully turned until her was facing a ferally grinning Tsum, Kiba still whimpering in the grip of her other hand. Can I help you? He asked uneasily. Tsum's grin widened. You think you're gonna get away that easily, brat? Kiba wasn't the only one to try and sneak some beer there after all. She shot. Naruto snorted derisively, in spite of the chill crawling up his spine. You can't do nothing to me, old lady. I ain't your kid. I ain't nobody's kid, I make my own decisions, he exclaimed. Sim snorted her amusement. You may be an orphan, but you're still a baby-faced brat. It's up to the adults to teach you brats proper manners, and right now, that's my job. Now take your punishment like a man. You obviously think you can drink like one. She barked, dragging Naruto and Kiba towards the clan compound by their hair. Gah! Somebody, help! Naruto screamed shrilly, Kiba crying in agreement, while Akamaru followed quietly behind, afraid to make a sound. Sim laughed as she pulled the two along. Quit crying, kids! This is tough love. Naruto and Kiba sat on the floor of an empty storehouse, huddled together with their backs to the door, and subconsequently their guard, who was leaning against the doorframe, smirking. Psst, Kiba! You got any idea of how to get out of here? Naruto whispered to his fellow prisoner. No way, man! Do you know what my mom will do to us if we try to make an escape? We'll get our asses kicked. Kiba whispered back harshly. Besides, there's no way we're getting out through that door. My sister will mop the floor with us if we try. Naruto looked over his shoulder at their guard, Hana Inuzuka, a young woman in her late teens that looked almost as dangerous as, and even more beautiful than her mother, as well as the 3 dogs that lay at her feet. Faye, you don't look so tough. Naruto spat, putting on a tough front. Dude, what are you doing? Kiba whispered loudly, looking at Naruto with wide, fearful eyes. Quiet, Kiba! Hana barked, grinning ferally as she pushed off of the doorframe and walked towards the pair, stopping in front of the still crouching Naruto, bending over at the waist until she was face to face with the whiskered blonde, only a few inches from him, her grin still in place. So you think you're tough shit, huh? She asked. Naruto grinned, squinting. I beat Mizuki team, didn't I? I bet I can take you and your puppies just as easily. He boasted. Hana snorted in amusement. Yeah, I heard about that kid. I've gotta say, for a little baby still in diapers like yourself, that's damn impressive, something to be proud of even. But I'll let you in on a little secret, she trailed off. What's that? Naruto asked, while Kiba, who was sitting there slack-jawed, kept twisting his head back and forth, like he was watching some sort of demented tennis match. Hana's smirk grew into a full-blown grin. Mizuki, while older than me, was an educator, a pencil-pushing babysitter, nothing more. I, on the other hand, am a battle-hardened, tried and true, tough-as-nails bitch. I'm used to fighting the baddest of the bad kid, and I'd tear you apart in no time flat in a real fight. She sneered while her dogs circled the two, growling menacingly. Heh, bring it on then. It's not like I've got anything better to do. Naruto thrust back, his grin never leaving his face. Hana leaned even closer, her forehead brushing against Naruto's, and then she burst out laughing, straightening up as she ruffled a confused Naruto's hair. Damn kid, you've got some big ones on ya, don't ya? It's good to see you're not a pushover, you'll need it if you're gonna survive this ninja world of ours. She chuckled. Naruto smirked. Thanks, he replied. If possible, Kiba's jaw fell open even further as his eyes bugged out. What just happened? I thought you guys were gonna try and kill each other. He yelled, confused. Hana laughed. Nah, I was just busting balls there, Kiba, seeing if your friend would fold under the pressure, but he held up like a champ. You've got a good friend there, and I hope the two of you get placed on a team together, you make a good pack. She replied, glancing at Naruto. If only you were about 3 years older, she trailed off, sighing dramatically. Naruto blushed heavily, but grinned all the same. Heh, I bet I could knock your socks off there too, he said, scratching the back of his head. Hana raised an eyebrow at that. Was that a challenge? Okay, quit flirting, you two. Sim cracked, opening the door to the storehouse, causing Naruto's blush to grow even more, and Hana to snort in amusement. Suso, I guess it's time for our punishment? Kiba stammered, gulping. Sim nodded. Yeah, at first I thought about just blistering your asses until neither of you could sit down for a week, but since you are getting your personnel files and team assignments tomorrow, I thought of a better punishment. She smirked. Oh yeah, so what are you gonna do to us, old lady? Naruto huffed. I'm not old, damn it. I'm only 36. Sim roared, appearing in front of Naruto and bopping him on the head with a fist, her left eye twitching. Anyway, she cleared her throat, regaining her composure while Naruto cradled his throbbing head, cussing. I've decided that if you two think you're old enough to drink like men, then that's exactly what you're gonna do, she said, giving the boys a thumbs up while winking. What? They asked in unison, confused. In response, another member of the Inuzuka clan brought in a case of beer, setting it at Sim's feet before nodding and leaving back out the door. The two of you are going to drink all of these, 12 beers apiece. Sim smirked, nudging the case with her foot. Kiba and Naruto looked at each other and grinned. This was gonna be easy. Not even a punishment. Right? Naruto and Kiba both looked like they were on their last legs, about to hurl, and with only 5 empty cans between them, each one holding the latest one they were nursing. I don't want to do this anymore. Kiba wailed drunkenly, swaying unsteadily on his feet. Naruto nodded in agreement, too scared to even say anything, one hand pressed over his mouth, ready to hurl at any second. Too bad. This is what you wanted, so this is what you got. Some cackled, cracking a whip over the boys' heads, making them jump at the sudden snap, quickly chugging their beers in response. Hey, did you put you-know-what in those? Hannah whispered, sliding up behind her mother. Some grinned maniacally. Yep, that's why they're so smashed. That stuff will leave the two of them feeling nauseated, and it'll knock the haze out of them in time to go get their dossiers done. They're still gonna have one hell of a hangover for their team meetings, though. She chuckled. Hannah laughed as well. I can still remember when you did this with me, it was rough. She smiled, despite the memory. Some nodded, and was about to say something, when Naruto drunkenly staggered over, standing in front of her on unsteady feet as he looked up at her with bleary, bloodshot eyes. You want something, kid? She asked. In response, Naruto threw himself into the older woman, wrapping his arms around her waist as he buried his face in her stomach. What dash? Some started, feeling a wetness spread where Naruto's face was. Thank you, I've never had a parent to scold me before or treat me like a real kid, Naruto mumbled, his sobs muffled. Kiba, in a haze, stumbled over as well, throwing himself into some also. Mama! Don't ever leave! He bawled drunkenly. Some twitched once, then sighed, dropping her whip and ruffling both boys' hair, hugging them close as she did so. All right, you stupid brats, you don't have to drink anymore, you've served your punishment. You can rest now, she said, smiling faintly. Kiba and Naruto could only mumble their thanks, already out of it. Hey, need some help, Mom? Hannah asked, walking over to pick up one of the preteens. Some nodded her thanks, and was about to grab Kiba, when both boys let go of her unexpectedly. Hadash? She started. Bleh. Only for Naruto to fall to his hands and knees, throwing up everywhere. Kiba pointed at Naruto, laughing. Ha ha! You threw up na narabilih. Kiba then promptly did the same thing before he fell face first into his vomit, snoring loudly. Oh damn it! You brats are cleaning that up tomorrow. Sim's roar echoed throughout Konoha. The next morning found Naruto and Kiba stumbling towards the meeting spot with the photographer for their dossier pictures, looking like a pair of zombies as they staggered on, a worried Akamaru trotting alongside Kiba while a smirking Sim and severe-looking Kuramaru following behind at an easy pace. Ah man, do we have to do this right now? Naruto groaned, stumbling over his own feet as they went. Shut up, Naruto, don't be so loud. Kiba snapped irritably, holding his hands over his ears. Take your own advice, why don't ya? Naruto ground out, clutching at his own head. Damn it, why does my head hurt so much? Some smirk grew. It's called a hangover, kid, and it's one of the many fun little perks that come with getting drunk. Now then, who's up for some nice breakfast? She teased. Kiba paled at that, even as his cheeks took on a green hue. Please no, he whimpered while Naruto covered his mouth in agreement, looking sick as well. Some threw her head back, laughing. Fine, fine. She chuckled as they reached the photography shop, where an old man stood outside, tapping his foot impatiently, a grumpy look on his face. Hey there, old man. I've got the brats here for their ID pictures. She called out, waving to him. The old man cut a sour eye at Naruto and Kiba. You brats are late. Is this the kind of impression you want to give as future shinobi of the leaf? He grouched. Some chuckled at that. Sorry, it was partially my fault they were late. She spoke up in defense of the boys. Whatever. Shall we get through with this already? The old man asked. Psst, Kiba, I've got an idea. Naruto whispered to his partner in crime behind Sim's back. Huh, what's that? Kiba whispered back. In response, Naruto grinned and whipped out a kabuki makeup kit, causing Kiba's eyes to widen in realization before he grinned, nodding. Sure, if you set up the camera, I'll make sure the boys are ready. Sim agreed, turning around, only to stop gobsmacked, as she caught Naruto and Kiba in the middle of painting themselves up. What the hell do you two brats think you're doing? She screeched. Getting ready for our pictures? Naruto asked, a sheepish look on his face as Kiba gulped, nodding in agreement. Oh hell no! Sim snarled, whipping a handkerchief out of one of her pockets and spitting on it before advancing on the two cowering soon-to-be ninja. You are not embarrassing yourselves in our village like that. You will be presentable. With that, she pounced on Kiba and Naruto, her handkerchief leading the way as the two boys screamed shrilly. In the background, the old man sighed and shook his head before going about and setting up his camera. Sarutobi sat behind his desk in the mission assignments office, looking over the two dossiers in his hands, then up to Naruto and Kiba, who were sitting in front of him, then back down to the dossiers before handing them to his assistant. I must say, good job, boys. Everything is in order, and your pictures look good, though you look a bit frightened. Nervous about becoming shinobi? He asked kindly. Naruto shook his head quickly. No way, old man. I ain't scared of becoming a ninja, he protested loudly. Kiba nodded. Heck yeah. Naruto's right, Hokage-sama. We're gonna be two of the best ninja you've ever seen, especially me, he boasted proudly. Sarutobi chuckled at that. Oh, I've no doubt. But then why did you look nervous in your pictures? He asked, curious. Sam, who was leaning up against a nearby wall, smirked. Oh, I might be able to answer that question, Hokage-sama. Those two needed to be kept in line, so I made sure that they only did what was needed. She spoke up. Sarutobi blinked at that, mildly surprised. Oh, well then thank you, Tsum-san. It's nice to see the next generation getting help, even on the small things, he praised. Hey, Naruto started, only to be interrupted as a small blur burst into the room through one of the doors before it fell, rolling to a stop right in front of Naruto, revealing itself to be a young boy, no older than 8 or 9, clutching his head with one hand. Hey, you alive, kid? Naruto asked, while Kiba poked at him with a stick. Oh no, Konohamaru, Sarutobi thought, sighing internally this was going to be a mess. At that moment, a tall, lanky man dressed in all black and wearing a small pair of sunglasses burst in, looking around frantically. Young master! Are you alright? He yelled out, seeing Konohamaru laying there. Ah, wow, the kid groaned, getting up. What the heck happened? He asked dazedly, looking around before his eyes locked onto Naruto. Hey! You tripped me! He yelled accusingly, pointing at Naruto. What did you just say, you brat? Naruto yelled, picking Konohamaru up by his scarf and lifting him into the air. You tripped over your own 2 feet, you brat. Maybe you should watch where you are going rather than blaming people for your own mistakes. Now apologize before I have hit ya, he snarled. Put the young master down. What do you think you are doing, you ungraceful brute? Don't you know who that child is? He is the grandson of our venerated Lord 3rd Hokage. The tall lanky jonin, named Ebisu, yelled angrily. Naruto looked up at the man surprised, then at Sarutobi, who nodded, and then back down to Konohamaru. Really? He asked, curious. Yeah. So you better do what you're told. Konohamaru snarked, sticking his tongue out at Naruto. Like I care! Naruto yelled, letting go of Konohamaru as he bopped him hard with his other fist, knocking him back down to the ground. Ha! Man, that was harsh, Naruto. Kiba laughed. Whatever. That brat needs to learn his lesson. Naruto huffed, dusting his hands off as he and Kiba walked towards the exit. By the way, Kiba, Naruto started, a curious look coming over his face. What's up, man? Kiba asked. Where'd you get that stick you were poking the brat with from? Sim chuckled as the two exited, Konohamaru following behind. Well, I'll see you around, Hokage-sama, she said with a wave, leaving as well. Looks like things might get interesting soon, the Hokage mused to himself, watching with a small amount of amusement as Ebisu searched high and low for Konohamaru. Outside, Sim walked over to Naruto and Kiba, who was picking up Akamaru, the small pup, having waited outside with Kuramaru. I've gotta say, Naruto, that was pretty ballsy. Not many people would have done what was right back there, instead falling over themselves to kiss up to the Hokage by pampering his grandson, she praised. Naruto grinned. Thanks, Sim-san. Heh, old man Gigi probably got a kick out of it as well, not that he could have done anything anyway. I'd just kick his butt again like I did last night. Sim raised a questioning eyebrow while Kiba's mouth fell open. No way, you are lying! No one can beat the Hokage, he exclaimed in disbelief. You better believe it. I beat him with a single jutsu, Naruto boasted. Sim whistled. So that's what happened to the Hokage early last night? You used a single jutsu to beat him? Very impressive. Not many people can claim to have a jutsu that strong, she praised, causing Naruto to blush as he scratched the back of his head and grinned. Kiba's mouth dropped open even wider as he looked up at his mom. Really? Naruto really managed to take down Old Man Hokage? Beating Mizuki-sensei is one thing, but this is the Hokage we're talking about, he yelled, waving his arms around. Tsum grinned, patting her son on the head. Then you better start getting stronger if you want to keep up then, won't you? She asked, smirking evilly. Anyway, we need to get back to the clan compound. Take care, Naruto, she said, waving to the young blonde. You too. It was great meeting you, Naruto replied eagerly, waving back at Tsum and Kiba, who were walking off. When they disappeared around the corner of a building, Naruto scratched the back of his head. All right, kid, you can come out now. What do you want anyway? I've got a killer headache, he complained. Just behind Naruto, a disguise cloth dropped, revealing Konohamaru. I want you to teach me that jutsu you beat my grandpa with, he demanded, pointing at Naruto. Naruto turned his head to look at the brat, squinting. Why should I? He asked. Konohamaru drew himself up, taking a deep breath. Well. 4 hours later found Naruto and Konohamaru sitting on a log in a lightly wooded area beside some vending machines, Konohamaru having gotten a soda and Naruto having gotten a bottle of cold milk. Hey Kona, I'm wondering something, Naruto started, looking down at his bottle of milk. Yeah, boss? Konohamaru asked, looking at Naruto curiously before taking a sip of his cola. Naruto looked at the vending machines. What the heck are a couple of vending machines doing sitting out here in the middle of the woods like this? It seems weird to me. Konohamaru shrugged. Beats me, boss. Convenience maybe? Naruto snorted, turning away from the machines. Who knows? He finally let it go, slipping his milk into a pocket on his jacket. Anyway, Kona, now that you know the sexy jutsu, you're sure to beat the old man in no time. There's just one thing you need to remember. He stood up, grinning down at Konohamaru. What's that? Konohamaru asked, looking up at Naruto in wonder. Before Naruto could answer, Ebisu dropped into the clearing, standing up. Honorable grandson, what are you doing with that disreputable trash there? He demanded. You should be studying. The fastest way to becoming Hokage is under my tutelage, he boasted, crossing his arms. Listen to me, honored grandson, your grandfather is a shinobi revered for learning all the greatest jutsu our village has to offer. I doubt you could learn anything useful from this trashy wannabe shinobi. Naruto scowled at the look in Ebisu's eyes even as Konohamaru leapt to his defense. Shows what you know. Boss is awesome. He even taught me the sexy jutsu to beat grandpa with, so take this. He yelled, transforming into a beautiful, naked brunette that juggled in all the right places, small wisps of clouds barely concealing her naughty bits. WHWH, what filth is this? Unfit for the grandson of our celebrated leader. Ebisu yelled, blushing heavily as a small drop of blood threatened to escape from his nose. Ah man! Konohamaru complained, transforming back. It didn't work, boss. He pouted, looking up to Naruto. Naruto stepped up, placing a hand on Konohamaru's shoulder. Don't worry about it, Kona, I've got this one, he said with an easy grin, sliding the young boy behind him before making a familiar hand sign. Kagebushin! He called out, a line of Narutos appearing beside him in a billowing cloud of smoke. Ebisu smirked as he crouched slightly and crossed his hands in front of himself. I will admit, having the ability to make that many clones at your age is astoundingly impressive, but I'm not some cut-rank chunin like Mizuki was. I'm an elite jonin, so don't expect those same tactics to work on me, he declared. Naruto grinned as his clones surrounded Ebisu. Oh yeah? Well, what about this then? Harem technique, he yelled out, his clones all transforming into sexy blonde bombshells, all of whom which latched onto Ebisu, causing the man to pause in shock. Wah, he stammered, a fountain of blood getting ready to erupt from his nose. Now to finish it, Naruto yelled, running up to the stunned man before dropping to the ground in front of him in a split. Johnny Cage, bitch! Naruto yelled, pulling back his right fist, then cold-clocking Ebisu right in the bells. Ebisu's face drained of all color. UHHHH! The man screamed shrilly, clutching at his battered dangly bits as he fell onto his side and curled into a fetal position. In the Hokage Tower, Sarutobi, who had been watching through his viewing ball, smacked his hand over his eyes, even as he winced in sympathy for the hurt man. To combine Kagebushin with his own original technique, then to use a taijutsu move like that, he shuddered. No man could survive such a horrible combination technique. I have a feeling that I'm going to have to put it into the Forbidden Scroll and ban it before long, he groaned. And that's how you do it, Naruto exclaimed, giving Konohamaru a thumbs up. Whoa! That was so awesome, boss! The young boy exclaimed, starstruck. Naruto laughed, patting Konohamaru on the head. Just remember that there are no shortcuts on the path of life, brat. Remember that, and to be as good as you can, and I'm sure that you'll grow up to be a great man, someone who I'll be proud to call Hokage when I pass that hat off to you, that is," he exclaimed, walking away. Konohamaru grinned, facing Naruto's retreating form. "Oh yeah? I'll show you! I'll become Hokage before you, and be the greatest Hokage ever," he yelled. In response, Naruto raised his hand and gave Konohamaru a thumbs up, heading towards the next step in his destiny, the team assignments. Naruto entered the classroom, and seeing an open seat in the same row as Sasuke Uchiha, moved to take it, when Kiba spotted him. "Hey Naruto, up here man!" the young ninja yelled, waving. "Hey Kiba, didn't Naruto fail?" Shikamaru Nara, who was sitting beside Kiba with his friend Chuji Akamichi, asked, hoping the answer wasn't too troublesome. Kiba grinned as Naruto made his way towards them. He failed the test, yeah, but after everyone else went home, Mizuki-sensei approached him, claiming that there was a secret makeup test that he could take, but it turned out to be a trick, and Mizuki-sensei just wanted Naruto to steal an important scroll from the Hokage Tower for him before he tried to defect. But Iruka-sensei and Naruto managed to stop him, so Naruto was allowed to pass. Crazy, huh? Shikamaru snorted. Yeah, just one problem there, Kiba. Not only is the Hokage Tower guarded at all times by both Chunin and Jonin, but the Hokage himself is said to practically live there, and there's no way Naruto of all people would be able to get past him, even if he did get past the guards. He replied, voicing his disbelief, Chuji nodding in agreement, while he munched on some chips. Heh, but that's where you're wrong, Shikamaru. I beat old man Gigi in a single attack, Naruto exclaimed, taking the seat on Kiba's other side. There's no way. You couldn't possibly be strong enough, Shikamaru replied lazily. I'm here, ain't I? Naruto asked, pointing at his Hitaiite. That effectively shut the young genius up. At that moment, Sakura and Ino burst into the classroom, fighting to get into the seat that was right beside Sasuke. Man, why can't Sakura like me like that? Naruto whined, resting his chin on the desk as he watched his crush punch her rival in the face, only to get a leg sweep in return. Man, they're being pretty rough today, Kiba laughed. Hey, why do you like her anyway, Naruto? Sakura treats you like crap, man. Surely you realize that there are other girls in this class, right? He asked. Naruto sighed. Yeah, but it's just complicated, alright? Sitting up again, he took out the bottle of milk he bought earlier and popped the cap, attempting to stall where the conversation was heading. Bottoms up, he exclaimed, turning the bottle up and started chugging the milk. Deep in the bowels of Naruto's chakra network, a pair of hateful red eyes popped open. Here it is. Kyuubi thought evilly, slipping an almost insignificantly small amount of chakra past the cage and into Naruto's throat, curdling the milk with its demonic essence. Okay class, calm down, Iruka called out, looking up at Naruto, who just set down an empty bottle, then screeched shrilly and stood up, grabbing his rear. Naruto? Iruka started, almost afraid to ask. Oh shit! Kami, I feel like I'm about to crap myself, Naruto screamed, running out of the classroom as fast as he could with a stiff gait. Revenge! Kyuubi bellowed in his mind, cackling madly. Right, well, let's get on with the team assignments, shall we? Iruka asked, sweat dropping along with the class. The greatest student ever. Oh Kami, I feel so much better. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief, sitting on one of the toilets in the academy bathroom, trickles of sweat rolling down his face after the intense, 2-hour brown bomb assault he'd just gone through. It had been so bad that he'd had to flush 3 times. Oh man, does it stink though, he complained, waving his hand in front of his face. Reaching for the toilet paper, Naruto cocked his head to the sign, reading the rules posted there. No more than 3 squares? To hell with that. I need me some real ass wiping paper, damn it, he declared, ready to rip out as much as he wanted. PSSSD, hey kid. The voice caught Naruto completely by surprise as he let out a little screech of fright, looking up even as he covered himself as best he could, spotting someone looking in over the stall door, wearing an oxygen mask and a pair of goggles. Hey! What the hell do you think you're doing, you freak? Naruto yelled, pointing. Obey the rules, kid, they're there for a reason. With that, the ninja sunk back down, out of sight. Oh man, what a sicko! Naruto shuddered, wiping himself with exactly 3 squares of paper, then exiting the stall and washing his hands before rushing out of the bathroom as quickly as possible. Naruto ran down the hall back towards the classroom, cussing all the way. Damn it! I've probably missed the team assignments already. What team am I on? He demanded out loud, turning the final corner that led to the class. and ran straight into somebody, stopping cold as his face sank into a deep crevice, blocking his sight. Huh! Did I run into a pair of pillows? He wondered, reaching up with his hands to feel what he was in. Whatever they were round and soft. So, he squeezed. What the hell do you think you're doing, you little brat? Huh! Naruto grunted intelligently, looking straight up, into a piercing, furious gaze that locked with his own wondering eyes. Hey! Kurenai-sensei! What's going on? He inquired, recognizing the woman who occasionally substituted for Irika in the past. BWA, ha ha! You've got some big ones on ya, kid, I'll give ya that! Exclaimed a man who stepped into Naruto's very limited range of vision. Hey! You're Gigi's son, Asuma! Naruto exclaimed, his eyes widening in recognition. Then he squeezed Kurenai's again. Quit doing that! Kurenai yelled furiously, bringing an elbow down on top of Naruto's head, knocking the poor kid to the floor, where he twitched a few times while Kurenai stood over him, her fists curled at her sides as she attempted to set him on fire with her fierce glare. Wow, Kurenai, did you kill him? All he did was squeeze your, Asuma remarked, poking the twitching boy with a stick as Kurenai turned her raptor's gaze on him, feminine fury radiating off of her in waves. Exactly? She ground out. Whoa! Kurenai-sensei, did you kill him? Kiba asked, coming around the duo to crouch beside Naruto, feeling for a pulse. Kiba? Naruto groaned, his eyes fluttering open. What are you doing here? Kiba grinned. Well, me and the team are going with Kurenai-sensei to get to know one another. I got on a team with Shino and Hinata, and Asuma-sensei is taking on Shikamaru, Chuji, and Ino. Pretty cool, huh? He asked. Naruto grinned weakly. So, we're not gonna be on a team after all, huh? Too bad, he said weakly. Naruto? You okay, man? Kiba asked, starting to get worried as the other genin started to come forward. So troublesome. If you're gonna die, then just do it already. Shikamaru yawned while Chuji busily munched on a bag of chips. Shikamaru! That's not nice. Even if it is Naruto! Ino yelled, causing everyone nearby to wince at how loud she was being. Meanwhile, Hinata hesitantly stepped forward, looking down at her longtime crush. And Naruto, she muttered, worried for the boy. Shino just silently stood there, being Shino. Naruto coughed, his eyes starting to close. Naruto! I'm here, man! Kiba yelled, leaning closer. Even Kurenai started to look worried. She hadn't hit him that hard, had she? I just wish I could have squeezed those wonderful marshmallows, just one more time, Naruto wheezed. You can just go and die! Kurenai roared, punting Naruto down the hallway, sending him bouncing off several walls before finally crashing through the door to the classroom. Fucking punk! She snarled, brushing her hands before taking off at a brisk pace in the opposite direction. Naruto Hinata sighed, looking in the direction that her crush had flown. I would have let you squeeze mine, if you just asked. She murmured under her breath. Hinata! Come on! Kiba yelled as he and Shikamaru followed after Kurenai. See coming! Hinata called out, hurrying after her team. Hell, I like that kid, he's got spunk. Asuma commented with a grin, moving to follow Kurenai. Shikamaru just sighed and shook his head resignedly as they left as well. Sasuke and Sakura were sitting in the classroom, waiting on their sensei. Where could he be? And where's Naruto anyway? Sakura complained to Sasuke, who simply grunted in response. All of a sudden, the door burst in, an orange blur flying through the air, blood spraying everywhere. Aha! Sakura screamed as she and Sasuke leapt to their feet, the latter pulling a kunai in case of attack. What the heck is going on? Sakura screeched as Naruto came to a halt at her feet, a pool of blood already forming. Naruto? Are you alright? She asked cautiously, nudging his prone body with a foot. Gah! Naruto suddenly yelled, causing Sakura to yelp in surprise and leap away as he sat up, holding his head. What a crazy lady! She almost killed me back there for no reason at all, he complained, holding his throbbing head. Sasuke snorted, putting his kunai away. I'm sure you did something to deserve it. Now quit being a dope, he said, taking a seat. Heck yeah! You should listen to Sasuke-kun. Sakura agreed while taking the first aid kit off of the wall, taking out a roll of gauze and bandaging Naruto's head. But Sakura! Naruto whined, getting a slap on the head for his trouble. You be quiet and take it easy. You lost a lot of blood, you idiot! Sakura snapped, tying off the bandage. There, now keep quiet until our sensei comes. she said with a huff, crossing her arms as she walked to a nearby seat. Naruto watched the retreating girl with a small amount of wonder. Sakura, you say you can't stand me, but maybe you care about me at least a little bit? He hoped quietly. Then his eyes drifted downwards, towards her swaying posterior, and his thoughts became considerably dirtier. Ah! I can't take this waiting anymore, damn it! Naruto yelled, ruffling his hair in frustration, feeling sorely tempted to just take off after waiting for 3 freaking hours. Shut up and quit complaining, Naruto! Sakura snapped, throwing a piece of chalk at said boy's head, forcing him to duck the impromptu projectile. He's got a point though. Where's that damn sensei of ours? I'll kick his ass myself if he takes too much longer. Shinaro! Inner Sakura protested, in agreement with Naruto. Sasuke just sat there, but the constant twitching of his right eyebrow showed that the young Uchiha was also getting annoyed. Not that he'd complain out loud, of course, that was beneath a Uchiha after all. Heh, I'll teach that stupid sensei of ours to be late! Naruto exclaimed, cackling madly as he stood up. Hey guys, wanna see the greatest prank ever? Well, for today at least. He asked, quickly amending the last part of his statement. Naruto, what the hell are you thinking? Hell yeah, Naruto! Teach that bastard the consequences of being late. Shinaro! Both Sakura and Inner Sakura yelled at the same time. Sasuke snorted, his fingers steepled in front of his face. As if our sensei could fall for anything a dobe like you could come up with. He's an elite jonin after all, dobe. He replied coolly. Heh, I'll show you. Just make sure you guys ast like nothing happened after he finally comes in, okay? Naruto asked, pointing at Sasuke and Sakura while he placed his ear up to the door. Okay, I hear someone coming. Here I go, he whispered, molding a hand sign that was unfamiliar to his teammates. Kagebushin! He exclaimed quietly, a shadow clone forming in front of the door, even as Naruto ran to a seat while Sasuke and Sakura stared gobsmacked at the clone. The clone grinned evilly. Sexy technique, he called out, suddenly transforming into a drop-dead gorgeous blonde babe that was completely naked, covering her naughty bits with her hands, standing right in front of the door. What Ash? Sakura's jaw dropped open, taken by complete surprise, while Sasuke's eyes widened fractionally, his head whipping to the side as a small trickle of blood escaped his nose. Naruto grinned as the door started to slide open. Here we go, he thought gleefully. Kakashi Hatake, elite jonin of Konoha, strolled easily towards classroom 11, taking his sweet time, given that he just reached one of his favorite parts in Ika tactics. Oh Kentaro, you're such a naughty boy. Trying to look down the shirt of the mayor's daughter like that. You're my hero! He cheered mentally, giggling as his eyes greedily devoured panel after panel. All too soon, however, he reached the classroom door. Let's get this over with, he thought to himself. I wonder how long it'll take this team to fail? He wondered. Reaching down, he grasped the handle and pulled the door open. And there stood a wide-eyed, naked woman. Ah! A pervert! The blonde beauty screamed, nailing Kakashi in the face with a perfect high kick, and giving him the perfect view at the same time, knocking the stunned jonin against the far wall before she screamed shrilly again and slammed the door shut. Kakashi blinked once, then again, his mind awhirl, before wait for me. He squealed happily, rushing back to the door. Undoubtedly this was a dream come true. Inside, Naruto was barely able to keep from laughing, and even Sakura looked like she was trying not to as well, while Sasuke was unable to even look in the henge clone's direction, even after she disappeared in a poof of smoke. Before any of them could say anything, the door burst open in a shower of splinters, a wild-eyed, tall, silver-haired ninja rushing into the room, looking around frantically. You there? He roared, pointing at Naruto. Where is she? Huh? Naruto asked intelligently, pointing at himself. Who, Sakura-chan? She's right there, he replied, pointing to his pink-haired crush. Kakashi zoomed towards Naruto, picking him up by the collar of his jumpsuit and bringing him face to face. No! The pretty naked lady! He yelled wildly, waving his other arm up and down. What are you talking about? Naruto asked, confused, only for Kakashi to drop him and run over to Sasuke and Sakura. Please tell me that at least one of you saw her, the tall jonin begged, slamming his hands down on their desks. When both genin fearfully shook their heads no, Kakashi hung his head, a dejected cloud seemingly hanging over him. Was it just a dream? He wondered before finally turning his attention to his students. Okay, you three meet me on the roof, he said listlessly, disappearing in a swirl of leaves. The three genin sat in stunned silence for a few seconds, processing what just happened. Ah man, did ya see that? That was hilarious! Naruto suddenly said, his face splitting into a grin. Sakura giggled a little. I've got to admit, Naruto, that was pretty good, she replied, standing up. Well, shall we go meet our new teacher for real? She asked the two boys. You bet, Sakura-chan, Naruto exclaimed, leaping up to follow his crush. HN, was all Sasuke said, standing up, though his thoughts were a different matter completely. They were so perky he gulped, unable to forget what just happened. The three genin sat before their instructor, who was leaning against a rail, a cloud of dejection still hanging around him. Sensei? Are you alright? Sakura asked uncertainly. Kakashi sighed dramatically, gazing over his shoulder at Konoha. Yeah, I was just thinking of a wonderful dream, he said wistfully. Well, what are we supposed to do now? She asked, uncertain. Kakashi heaved another long, melodramatic sigh, crossing his arms as he looked at the kids. Fine, how about we start by introducing ourselves? Tell each other our dreams, likes, dislikes, etc. It shouldn't be hard to figure out, he looked at Sakura, but if you really need an example, I'll go first. My name is Kakashi Hatake, your Jonin sensei. My dreams and dislikes really aren't any of your business, and my likes? At this, his eye crinkled as he smiled. Naked ladies. He deadpanned, stating the obvious. Okay, Pinky, you're up. Right. Sakura nodded. Well, my name is Sakura Haruno, and I like. She looked at Sasuke and blushed. Well, my dreams are. This time a giggle accompanied her blush. And my dislikes are Ino pig and stupid perverted jerks like Naruto, she exclaimed, crossing her arms. Oh, Sakura-chan, Naruto cried, his jaw falling open. Surely you don't mean that. Kakashi grinned under his mask. Well, thanks for volunteering to be second, Blondie. Naruto continued to pout, crossing his arms. Fine, fine. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. My likes are ramen, Sakura-chan, training, and kicking the asses of people who underestimate me. My dislikes are the 3 minutes you gotta wait for ramen to cook, people that look down on me, and the fact that I'm not Hokage yet, even though I already beat Gigi. And my dreams for the future are to become Hokage, and marry Sakura-chan, he proclaimed proudly. Cha! Like hell you will. I'm gonna marry Sasuke-kun, Sakura roared, nailing Naruto in the face with a clean straight right, sending the poor boy skidding along the roof until he eventually hit a wall a dozen feet away, his head buried in rubble and his body twitching spastically. That was some pretty good distance there, Pinky, Kakashi complimented, faintly interested. You okay over there, Blondie? Naruto's response was to groan an inaudible reply and give Kakashi a weak thumbs up as he started to extract his head from the rubble. Kakashi smiled. Excellent. Okay, Mr. Bootypants, it's your turn, he said, gesturing to Sasuke. Sasuke grunted, steepling his fingers in front of his face. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I have many dislikes. My dreams, no, my goals are to resurrect my clan and kill a certain person. And your likes? Kakashi prompted. Well, there's tomatoes and boobies. Gah! Why am I feeling this all of a sudden? HN Sasuke grunted, a slight, almost unnoticeable blush spreading across his cheeks. Kakashi smiled again. That's great, you guys. Now then, you need to show up for a survival exercise at Training Ground 10 tomorrow, alright? This caught all three genin by surprise. But Kakashi-sensei, why do we need to do survival exercises? Sakura voiced their confusion. Kakashi's smirk remained, but his demeanor suddenly became menacing. Well, I'm glad you asked. You see, that so-called exam you passed? That's just a pre-screen. Your real test to determine whether you become genin is tomorrow, and this test has a 66% failure rate. If you fail, you get to come back here even. Sounds pretty fun, huh? So be at the grounds at 8 a.m. sharp, or you fail right away. And don't eat breakfast either, you'll just throw it back up, he informed them. Later then, kiddos. With that, the Jonin disappeared via body flicker, leaving 3 stunned preteens in his wake. Wait, what the hell? What do you mean we haven't passed yet? Naruto's yell echoed across Konoha. That night, Naruto sat in front of a stuffed dummy that resembled Kakashi, his head cocked to the side as he studied it. Well, if I come at him like then go like so, he mumbled, whipping out a notebook and jotting down a series of notes. But wait! I already know he'll fall for, of course. I'm a genius! He suddenly yelled, grinning evilly. Prepare yourself, Kakashi-sensei. I'm talking you down tomorrow. He laughed, putting his notebook away and getting ready for bed. Elsewhere in the village, said silver-haired Jonin sneezed while leaping over a roof, startling an on-guard Anbu. Someone must be thinking about me, maybe it was that pretty naked lady, he thought happily. The next morning dawned bright and early. Then at 9 o'clock, Kakashi showed up at the training grounds raising a hand as he waved at 3 very irate genin. "Good morning, students," he greeted. "You're late," Naruto and Sakura screamed together, while Sasuke stood beside them, his arms crossed as he sent a glare of annoyance Kakashi's way. Now, you shouldn't be like that. Patience is one of the fundamental skills of any good shinobi after all," Kakashi replied, waving one hand in front of his face dismissively as he led the 3 genin to a group of training stumps that were lined up. "Now, I've set this clock to go off at noon," he explained, pulling out a small alarm clock and setting it on one of the posts, then pulled out a pair of bells. "Now, what I've got here are 2 bells. The object of this exercise is to get one of these bells from me. Anyone who doesn't get one before the time limit runs out will be tied to a stump, and I'll eat lunch in front of you, and then I will fail you and send you back to the academy, a disgrace." "But that means," Sakura started, stunned. Kakashi smirked under his mask. "Exactly. I've only got 2 bells here. That means that at least one of you is going to fail, no matter what. Pretty fun, HM? Now, you'd better come at me with the intent to kill, or you won't stand a chance," he warned. Naruto grinned foxily, stepping forward. "I've already beat a Chunin, a Jonin, and even Gigi himself. You might want to rethink those words, sensei, 'cause I already know how to beat you too," he boasted, poking himself in the chest with his thumb. Kakashi sighed, looking at Naruto lazily. "Only stupid, weak people make up such empty lies and boasts. Now, let's forget the stupid liar there, and get started on my signal," he ordered. "I'll show ya who is stupid," Naruto growled, glaring fiercely at Kakashi as he whipped out a kunai and prepared to throw it. Only for Kakashi to blur out of sight, appearing behind Naruto and grabbing his hand in a firm lock, pulling the kunai behind the young blonde's head, surprising all 3 preteens. Well, it seems like maybe you might be ready to start acting like real ninja after all. Even if I didn't give you the go-ahead to start yet, maybe you'll turn out to be worthwhile after all. Now ready?" All 3 genin smirked as their bodies tensed. "Go!" All 4 ninja disappeared from the field. After a few moments, Kakashi decided to reveal himself to test his genin charges, his eyes drifting around as he appeared in an open area in the training grounds. They seem to have stealthed down pretty well," he mused thoughtfully. "Hey, Kakashi-sensei." "Or maybe not," Kakashi amended, sweat dropping as he turned around, coming face to face with the grinning Naruto, who was standing proudly, his arms crossed. "Naruto, what are you doing?" he asked, gazing at his student lazily. Nearby, Sasuke lay under a bush, wondering the exact same thing. "What the hell are you doing, challenging him in the open like that, dope? You'd better at least be good enough to give me an opening before he hands your ass to you on a silver platter, dope," he thought, waiting for the fight to begin, while Sakura watched, hidden in a tree, sweat dropping at the blonde's apparent idiocy. Naruto smirked, pointing at Kakashi. "I'll tell you what I'm about to do. I'm gonna beat your ass and take those bells. I already told you that I've got your number," he boasted, taking off towards Kakashi in a dead run. "By all means then," Kakashi replied lazily, reaching into his pouch and pulling out a familiar orange-covered book, opening it as a small blush appeared on his cheeks. Naruto screeched to a halt a few feet from his teacher. "Hey! Is that a book?" he demanded, pointing. "Flip yep." "What's it called?" "Flip Ika Paradise." "What's it about?" "Flip stuff that's too old for you." "Oh yeah? Try me." Kakashi looked up from his book at that. "Alright then," he replied, closing the book and handing it to Naruto. "This should be amusing," he thought with a smirk. Well, the author had a good taste in cover color at least, Naruto exclaimed, opening the book to the first page. Then the second. Then the third, his hands tightening on the book. Kakashi-sensei, Naruto started, lowering the book as he looked up at his instructor with an unreadable expression. Kakashi blinked twice. "Yes, Naruto?" Naruto's eyes started to shine as a wide grin split his face. "This is the greatest book ever." At that instant, Sakura face faulted, falling out of the tree into a bush, where her legs twitched. Sasuke palmed his face, groaning, and Kakashi's visible eye widened as his mouth dropped open inside his mask. You mean you actually understand it? And you like it?" he asked in disbelief. "Oh hell yeah! This is awesome!" Naruto exclaimed, shoving his nose back into the book as he started reading at a breakneck pace. "GH!" Kakashi grunted, his visible eye twitching, then he let out a long sigh, palming his face. This caught Naruto's attention. "Sensei? Are you okay? He asked, looking up from the book. Kakashi twitched. I'm just debating whether I should continue this test or just pass you because you love the world's greatest literature, Kakashi groaned, clearly torn. Aye. Sensei? Naruto asked, hope blooming in his voice as he took a step forward while the others leaned in from their hiding positions, listening intently. I'm sorry, Naruto. I just can't. We must continue the test. Kakashi cried out, anguished. Then I'm passin' right now. Believe it! Naruto yelled, suddenly lunging for the bells with his free hand. Too slow! Kakashi exclaimed loudly, deftly snatching his precious book from Naruto's hand and spinning behind him into a crouch, making the tiger seal. No! That's the tiger seal. That's for fire-based ninjutsu. Sakura thought frantically. Naruto! Get out of there! She screamed. What dash? Naruto started to turn around as everything seemed to go into slow motion. Too late. Konoha's most sacred taijutsu. 1,000 years of pain! Kakashi yelled, his eyes seeming to flash as he thrust forward with his hands, sending Naruto flying through the air with an ass poke so powerful waves of displaced air flattened the grass around the point of impact, followed by a loud clap. Yoch! Oh Kami! Why me? Naruto screamed shrilly, grabbing his abused buttocks as he sailed through the air, eventually landing in the river, sinking beneath the surface. They're both buffoons, Sasuke thought with a sweat drop. That's Konoha's most sacred taijutsu? It just looked like Naruto got poked in the ass really hard. Sakura deadpanned from her new hiding spot. What if that had been Sasuke-kun though? And then they could Shinaro? Inner Sakura shouted, grinning perversely while Sakura started to blush furiously at the dirty thoughts that were starting to form. Man! What an amazingly devastating taijutsu attack! Naruto exclaimed in a hushed tone, crouching beside Sakura. Ga! Naruto? But how? Sakura screeched, barely able to keep her voice down as she leapt into a crouch in surprise. Naruto grinned foxily. I switched with a clone at the last second. Pretty cool, huh? That move might have defeated me otherwise. Sakura blinked, then blinked again. Wait, so you had a clone in hiding the entire time? She asked, confused. Naruto gave a thumbs up. That's right. They say victory goes to the prepared, right? I needed something in case I got in trouble, he replied, sliding over to Sakura. So, I was thinking it seems to me that Kakashi-sensei might be too tough for us to take on alone, he started, his hand reaching out while Sakura looked at Kakashi, who was staring patiently at the river. Huh? Water yoke why? Sakura started, only to screech suddenly, a visible shiver traveling up her body. Huh? Are you alright, Sakura? Naruto asked. Aha! I found you, dash! Kakashi stated, appearing behind both genin, only to notice neither of them were looking at him. Sakura, still shivering, looked down, so Naruto and Kakashi did too. To see Naruto's hand, cupping Sakura's left butt cheek, rubbing up and down in a soft caress. Kakashi looked up, blinking, as Naruto grinned widely at Sakura, his eyes closed. Kya! You fucking pervert! She screamed, punt-kicking Naruto in the chin, sending the poor genin flying. It was worth it! Naruto yelled, sailing away. Oh no! What if Sasuke-kun saw? Sakura despaired, covering her flaming cheeks as she ran away. Kakashi remained where he was, crouched down. Naruto is the greatest student ever! He cried happily while pumping a fist, cheering. 20 minutes later found Kakashi standing by the river again, reading his book. Well, that's Sakura and Naruto so far, now the only one left is Dash. I'm not like those other two, you know. Sasuke of the Uchiha clan, Kakashi said, snapping his book shut. You might want to be careful about those kinds of boasts. Naruto has set a pretty high bar to compare against, you know. He finished nonchalantly. Sasuke snorted. As if the dobe could ever hope to compare against me. I'm an elite, he replied with a smirk, lowering his body as he reached for a shuriken. A frontal assault is wasted here, Kakashi started. Teehee! Look, Sasami-chan, there's a river. Let's go swimming, a nearby female voice called out. But Yuki-sama, we don't have any bathing suits. Kakashi looked over, interested. It's okay, Sasami-chan. We can swim naked. You don't want your mistress to swim alone, do you? The first voice pouted. Sasuke dropped his shuriken, looking the same direction as Kakashi. Stealthily, both ninjas snuck towards a bush in the direction they'd heard the voices come from. Peeking through, they saw two naked women, one a green-haired, pale-skinned beauty with a mischievous smirk on her face with small perky breasts that were capped with small, pink, and the other a woman with a much tanner complexion and short-cropped, white hair, with much larger breasts and larger, darker areola. "There's no way we're this lucky," Kakashi said, wide-eyed, blood dripping from his mask around where his nose would be. Sasuke couldn't even manage a grunt in reply, unable to tear his eyes away from the scene in front of him. "Oh Sasami-chan, look at you! I could just gobble you up." The green-haired woman smirked, sashaying towards the other, who blushed deeper and attempted to cover herself as the smaller woman took her in her arms. "Yuyuki-sama! We shouldn't!" Sasami moaned as Yuki started to nuzzle her neck, rubbing against her. Yuki's smirk grew devilish. "Oh, if only we had a couple of men here to help you get over that shyness of yours. We'd have so much fun," she purred, running her hands through Sasami's hair. Kakashi's visible eye started to twitch as blood continued to leak out of his mask. "This is the greatest day ever. Ladies!" he yelled happily, bull rushing through the bush, dragging a stunned Sasuke with him. "Don't worry, your lover boy is here." He ran towards the women. Suddenly, the surprised-looking Sasami smirked, an evil glint in her eyes. "Oh my! It's the famous Kakashi! Get him, girls!" she called out. "Huh!" Kakashi came to a halt, Sasuke falling to his knees beside him, when the bushes all around the two started shaking, nude blonde women with twin pigtails emerging from all around. "A trap?" he gasped. "Get em!" all of the girls screamed together, leaping towards the pair. "Yes. Bury me in boobies! And whatever else you wanna rub on me!" Kakashi yelled, his visible eye glistening with unshed tears of happiness as he opened his arms wide. And both he and Sasuke were crushed underneath a tidal wave of Narukos. Kakashi came awake with a start, finding himself tied to a post. "Hoo-ha! What the heck happened?" he asked to himself, his eye widening. Looking up, he found a smirking, badly bruised Naruto standing in front of him, arms crossed over his chest, with an annoyed Sakura on one side, and Sasuke on the other, his head turned in the opposite direction, and a small blush adorning his face. "What's going on?" Kakashi asked again. Naruto's grin widened. "You fell for my jutsu-sensei. We got you fair and square," he exclaimed. So none of that was real?" Kakashi asked. Upon getting a nod, Kakashi hung his head, a huge cloud of despair appearing over him. "You cheap little bastard. That was so unfair. You got my hopes up, damn it. I ought to kill ya," he raged, struggling against the ropes. Naruto's smirk grew even more. "But you're not going to, are ya?" he asked, holding up the pair of bells. "But there are only 2 bells, you know. So, who gets them?" Kakashi suddenly asked, looking up, then disappearing from the confines of the ropes, coming back into view in front of the 3 genin. This time it was Sakura who smirked, while Naruto tossed the bells into the air. "Well, Kakashi-sensei, even though Naruto is a perverted jerk, he really got me thinking back there when he said that you were probably too strong for any of us alone, and Sasuke, if you'd please?" Sasuke grunted, one of his hands blurring into motion as he tossed a pair of shuriken up, slicing both bells neatly in half, which Sakura caught as they started to fall, giving one piece to Sasuke and another to Naruto, before holding one of the last ones out to Kakashi. "A bell can't ring unless it's together, sensei. This was all a test to see if we could work together as a team, wasn't it?" she asked. Kakashi smirked under his mask, taking the offered piece of bell from Sakura. "Well, it seems as if you get it after all. No one person is as good as a team working as one. Just remember, those who don't obey the rules are trash, but those who abandon their comrades are even worse. Good work, Team 7, you pass," he exclaimed, giving them a thumbs up, while Naruto and Sakura cheered. Sasuke blinked, his eyes cutting towards Kakashi as something bugged him. But how did any of what happened today show teamwork? Naruto sat at Ichiraku's, happily slurping up his 3rd bowl of ramen in celebration of passing his sensei's test earlier, while telling the owner, Tuchi, about how he and his team had beaten Kakashi. And then, I used my harem technique. Not only did Kakashi-sensei fall to it, but I managed to knock out that stupid bastard Sasuke as well," Naruto continued, bouncing excitedly in seat as a grinning Tuchi put another bowl of miso ramen in front of his favorite customer. "But then he inhaled that bowl as well. Sakura-chan beat me up, yelling at me for catching Sasuke in the crossfire and being a perverted bastard. Can you believe it? I don't even know why she called me that. I was just doing what I needed so we could pass," he ranted. "I am," Tuchi's daughter giggled as she reached over and ruffled Naruto's hair. "Oh, Naruto-kun, she just thought that the way you won is inappropriate is all," she replied. This caused Tucci to laugh. Yeah, but a win's a win, right, kiddo? He shot back, looking at Naruto, who had his face buried in yet another bowl of ramen. A thoughtful frown crossed Iam's face after Naruto set down his latest conquest. Naruto-kun, I know you like using your new technique and all, but tell me, has anyone had the talk with you yet? She asked, her father shooting her a horrified look, even as Naruto glanced at her curiously. The talk? What's that? Naruto asked, his head tilting to the side as he squinted at Iam, crossing his arms over his chest. Iam and her father shared a meaningful look, causing the old man to sigh as he reached under the counter and pulled up a sake bottle and 2 saucers. Naruto, he started, only to be hushed as Iam put a shushing hand on his shoulder. Don't worry, Dad, I'll take care of this one. She smiled at her father, snagging the sake and saucers as she rounded the counter, taking her handkerchief off with her free hand as she did so. Come on, Naruto-kun, it's time for you to learn about the real meaning of growing up, she said, giggling at the mystified look on Naruto's face when she snagged the sleeve of his jumpsuit and started pulling him along. Wait. Where are you taking him? Tucci called out. Iam giggled again as she looked back at her father. Oh, we're just going to get Naruto-kun some appropriate reading material, then I'm gonna take him to his apartment and explain the birds and the bees to him. It'll be fun, she exclaimed, dragging the confused preteen down the street. Tucci's sweat dropped as they disappeared around a corner. I'm worried, but I don't know which one I should worry about more, he muttered, shaking his head as he began to clean up Naruto's mess. Surely nothing would happen, right? A middle-aged store clerk was sitting behind the counter of his adults-only shop, bored out of his skull, when suddenly the door swung wide open, startling the man as a smirking Iam came barging in, dragging Naruto along behind her, covering his eyes with one hand. Hey! Iam, where are we? Naruto grumbled, half-heartedly struggling against the older girl's grip. It's all right, Naruto-kun, we're here now, so feast your eyes, Iam exclaimed, pulling her hand away, showing Naruto the store. We're here to pick you up some men's magazines. Hey! That brat isn't allowed in here. Besides, don't you know the clerk started, only to be hushed as Iam smacked her hand down on the counter, sending the man a death glare, before grinning happily as he quickly shut up. Now Naruto-kun is coming to a special point in his life where he's starting to grow up, so, since I'm going to be teaching him the facts of life, we need a few magazines, she said while Naruto looked around, his mouth hanging open and a small amount of drool started to dribble. The man blinked twice. So wait, he started. You mean that you are gonna be teaching the brat? Iam nodded. And so you need another nod. All right? He finished weakly, making it more of a question than anything at the slightly disturbing look in the girl's eyes. Geet! I'm glad we can see eye to eye, Iam said happily, clapping her hands together. Now then, if you'd get me a copy of Horny Housemates Monthly, Super Slut Kunoichi, and Fiery Babes of Hino Kuni, then we should be good. Oh. And a box of condoms if you'd please, she ordered. The man twitched as he got the magazines. Condoms? He asked, raising a disbelieving eyebrow. Really? Iam huffed as she crossed her arms. Of course. I've got to teach him what they are after all. He needs to know that if he's gonna tap it, he's gotta wrap it. The clerk's sweat dropped, getting the condoms so as to not incur Iam's wrath again, bagging the purchases. Well, there you go, he said shakily, taking the money that Iam offered him before quickly shoving the bag towards her. Thanks, Iam chirped cheerfully. Come on, Naruto-kun, we're going, she called out, heading towards the door. Already? Naruto whined, looking up from a very familiar book that was in his hands. Hey mister, how much is this? He asked, holding up Ika Tactics. When the man told him, Naruto pouted. Ah man, I don't have enough, he complained, moving to place the book back where he'd gotten it from. The clerk looked at Naruto's downtrodden face. Hey kid, just take it, it's on the house, he said, scratching his nose as he looked away. Naruto's face lit up as he scooped the book back up, holding it tightly to his chest. Really? You mean it? He asked happily. Naruto, get your ass in gear. Naruto yelped, leaping into the air a little. Sora gotta go, thanks, he said in a rush, running out the door. Nama. The clerk clapped his hands together twice, bowing his head to pray for the poor boy's soul. An hour later found Naruto and Iam sitting on Naruto's couch in his apartment, both slightly tipsy, with the dirty magazines spread out on the couch between them. Whoa, that wasn't so hard. From the way old man Tucci was acting, you'd think that the talk is some horribly painful and embarrassing process. But you explained it so easily. Thanks for enlightening me, Iam-chan, Naruto exclaimed, grinning widely. So, have you ever done it before? Iam giggled at Naruto's antics. No, I'm still a virgin. But it's no problem, Naruto-kun, I've had fun explaining things to you. But none of that Nachan stuff right now, alright? There's still one thing left I have to teach you, she smirked. Naruto frowned, squinting. Really? What's that? And why can't I call you Nachan? You're kinda like a big boobies. His eyes widened comically as I am quickly stripped off her shirt and shucked her bra, showing off her pert breasts, effectively shutting Naruto up. Now I'm gonna teach you two things, Naruto-kun, I am purred, getting on her hands and knees, slinking towards Naruto. The first is about masturbation, and then about heavy petting with a girl. And who knows, depending on how good of a student you are, I might even teach you how to use that tongue properly for oral sex. She smirked devilishly, grabbing one of Naruto's hands with her own, pulling it up to her breasts as she reached down with her other hand and grabbed the zipper of his pants, pulling it down. Now, let's get started, shall we? Naruto could only gulp. I looked down as Naruto's little soldier sprung free of its restraints. Oh my, she breathed, her eyes lighting up. Somewhere in another country, a baby elephant trumpeted. The next morning, Kakashi shined into the area that he was scheduled to meet his team at 30 minutes late. Yo! He greeted, his uncovered eyes shut as he smiled and raised his right hand. He couldn't wait to give them his excuse. It was such a good one. After all, who wouldn't believe that he had to single-handedly fight off a gigantic invasion force from the north, right? Shinaro! You're late, Kakashi-sensei! Sakura screamed angrily. Noting that only one person was screaming at him, Kakashi cracked open his eye. Let's see, there was Sakura glaring daggers at him, check. Sasuke had his arms crossed and was looking pointedly away, check. There was nobody. Where's Naruto? Kakashi asked, genuinely surprised. Certainly his favorite student wouldn't miss out on their very first real day of ninja duty. Would he? Sakura crossed her arms and huffed angrily. How the heck should I know? He's being even lazier than you, sensei. Why, when I get my hands on him, POW. Right in the kisser! She snarled, smacking her fist into her other palm. HN, who cares, he's a dope, Sasuke grunted, still refusing to look at Kakashi. Kakashi I smiled again, scratching the back of his head. Well, shall we go get our wayward teammate then? It doesn't reflect well on a young shinobi to be tardy like this after all, so follow me. He stated, starting for Naruto's apartment. Che, look who's talking, Sakura grumbled, clearly not in the mood. 10 minutes later found Team 7 standing outside of Naruto's apartment, Kakashi looking back at his students before raising a hand and knocking, then backing up a foot. Naruto? Are you in there? He called out. A grunt was heard inside, followed by a body hitting the floor, then finally footsteps coming towards the door, before it was opened, revealing a ragged Naruto standing there in nothing but his underwear, his eyes wide and staring off blankly with dark bags underneath them and his hair a disheveled mess. Hey guys, what's up? He asked blankly, scratching the back of his head with one hand. His other hand looked considerably more used, the muscles tensed, clutching a soggy tissue. Kakashi blinked twice as Sasuke and Sakura stood there, dumbfounded. Naruto? What you been doing? Are you alright? He asked, genuinely concerned for his student. Naruto blinked, looking up at Kakashi. What? Yeah, I'm cool. He took a deep breath. Yeah, just been learning about stuff, yeah. Sakura managed to shake herself out of her stupor. Stuff? What sort of stuff would leave you like this? She asked, confused what was wrong with the knucklehead. Naruto, who is it? A sleepy I asked, coming up behind Naruto, a blanket wrapped around her. Looking over Naruto's head, she blinked owlishly. Huh. Oh. You must be Naruto's team. Nice to meet ya, she yawned. I'll make you breakfast, cutie, she said, kissing the side of a still dumbfounded Naruto's neck and smacking his butt. Yeah, just learning stuff, birds and bees and stuff, Naruto mumbled, his stare still wide-eyed and glassy, a suspicious gleam on his nose and chin now that he was in the light. Sakura's mouth fell open and she pointed at Naruto, and even Sasuke was looking at his comrade in wide-eyed surprise, and Kakashi. Kakashi started, clapping Naruto on the shoulder as his uncovered eye shimmered with happiness. I am so proud of you, he choked out, covering his eyes with his other forearm. Latte juice was all Naruto mumbled, woodenly turning around and stumbling, zombie-like, back into his apartment. Kakashi grinned hugely, following his shell-shocked student. You've got an hour to get ready, Naruto-kun. Come now, children, let's see if his lovely young friend can make us breakfast as well, he chirped happily. Sasuke and Sakura looked at each other, dumbstruck. What? Sasuke started. The fuck? Sakura finished for her crush, the two of them turning their heads to look at Naruto's open doorway again. Several hours later finally found Team 7 presentable, standing before a slightly put-out Hokage, who was staring at them sternly. I must say, despite Kakashi's rather lax attitude when it comes to meeting subordinates, I expected much better from you, he rebuked, getting proper looks of shame from both Sakura and Sasuke. Naruto, on the other hand, was staring blankly off into space, Kakashi still beaming proudly at him. Naruto! What in the world is going on with you? Sarutobi barked, startling the oblivious blonde, who blinked a few times and looked at him. Huh? Did you say something, Gigi? Naruto asked, finally looking at his leader. Sarutobi sighed, rubbing his eyes with his left thumb and index finger. You seem rather spaced today, Naruto. What is going on with you? He asked, looking up at the young ninja. Naruto started, only to be hushed as Kakashi put a hand on his shoulder. Don't worry, I've got this one, Naruto. Kakashi smiled, giving Naruto a thumbs up before approaching Sarutobi. You see, Hokage-sama, Kakashi started, leaning forward to whisper into Sarutobi's ear. Sarutobi's eyes widened a second later, his pipe falling from his suddenly slack mouth. You mean, he started, getting a nod from Kakashi, who started whispering again. And he another nod, so she a thumbs up this time. And they really? There was how much everywhere? The wet spot was how big? Really? He gasped, flabbergasted. When Kakashi finished and stepped back, the Hokage looked at Naruto, his eyes shining with understanding. Naruto, very good lad, very good. You won't be punished today. He grinned, picking his pipe back up and shoved it back in his mouth. Unfortunately, there is only one D rank left to be assigned today. What's that, Hokage-sama? Sakura asked weakly. Surely this day couldn't get any weirder, could it? Kakashi sat on a tree stump, lazily reading his Aika tactics. Are you guys in position? Do you have visual location of the target yet? He asked, using his free hand to tap a button on the wireless headset he was wearing. A distance away, Sakura pressed her back up against a tree as she scanned the area around her. Nothing yet, Sensei. How about you, Sasuke? She asked over her own headset. Nothing here either, Dobe? Sasuke was crouching under a bush, not really looking, but it wasn't like was about to tell his teammates that. Oh my god! It's trying to tear out my spleen. My spleen! Naruto's shrill cry ripped through their headsets before the line went dead and static began to crackle, causing everyone to wince as a loud roar ripped through the forest, scaring away many birds and small woodland creatures, followed by a faint spleen. Kakashi's sweat dropped. Well, I guess that means Naruto's found the target. Move in? It was more of a hesitant question than an order. Hey, Naruto seems to have this under control, right? Sakura asked, laughing nervously. I don't want to. Sasuke gulped as a mushroom cloud of smoke and dust suddenly blew up into the air from the general area that Naruto had gone in. Kakashi's sweat drop grew, even as a small dark blur came rocketing from the forest, touching down not too far away, revealing itself to be a disheveled Tora, his little pink bow hanging askew, and his back arched as he hissed angrily. Suddenly, a bloody and battered Naruto staggered into the clearing, giggling in a slightly insane manner as he pulled a kunai. Here, I just want to shove you. He took another step towards the cat. Naruto, Kakashi started, only to jump back a little as Tora suddenly let out a loud yell, leaping forward and swiping at its enemy, cutting 4 huge gashes in Naruto's jugular, causing the preteen to gurgle and grab at his neck as a huge torrent of blood started gushing from the wounds. Oh shit! Kakashi gasped, starting for Naruto. Only for him to burst in a cloud of smoke. Ha! Gotsuche, you stupid bastard! Naruto roared gleefully, dropping from the trees overhead, driving an elbow into the back of Tora's skull, smashing the cat face first into the ground. Victory! Naruto grabbed the unconscious Tora by the head, hefting him high into the air as he arched his back and let out a primal scream. Right, well, mission success if the cat isn't dead, Kakashi deadpanned, feeling more than a little nervous at the crazed look in Naruto's eyes. 20 minutes later, and Team 7 was standing again in front of the Hokage, looking perfectly fine, Naruto excepted, of course, covered in blood-stained bandages as he made stupid faces at Tora, who was currently being squished between the rather large breasts of the fire daimyo's wife. Well, it seems congratulations are in order. Good job, team. Sarutobi praised, puffing on his pipe. I must admit, Hokage-sama, for our first mission, that seemed awfully. Sakura trailed off, playing nervously with her hair as she looked at Sarutobi. The Hokage sighed, leaning back in his seat. Yes, well, normally you would be expected to have at least a few weeks' worth of missions under your belts before undertaking such a harrowing mission as to catch Tora, but you were the only genin team left today without a mission, and since Tora was the only mission left that you could undertake, that was your assignment. He stated. Well, I don't feel like taking any more missions like that. I want something cool. Naruto complained loudly, finally diverting his attention away from the demon cat. Why don't ya give us something cooler, old man? He demanded. Irika, who was sitting beside the Hokage, listening intently, opened his mouth to berate Naruto, but stopped when the Hokage held up a hand to silence him. Now Naruto, you know that we can't just go giving you higher-ranked missions when you only became a genin just yesterday. You need a little more experience closer to home before you can attempt anything like that, he explained. But that's no fair. I want cool missions. Naruto pouted, sticking out his lower lip as he sat down and crossed his arms. Sarutobi sighed, tugging on his hat a little. I'll make a deal with you, Naruto. He started, wanting to just shut the young blonde up before something stupid happened, like Naruto busting out with that harem technique of his to get his way. If you can go for 2 weeks of D-rank missions without complaining, I'll give you and your team a decent C-rank mission, I promise. What do you think? Naruto started to open his mouth, but was suddenly tackled by Sakura, who grabbed him in a vicious headlock, shoving her other hand into his mouth to shut him up. It's a deal, Hokage-sama, she said in a falsely happy tone, not wanting her teammate to get them in trouble. Dobe, Sasuke thought, cutting his eyes towards Naruto only to have a familiar pair of large, perky to suddenly pop up in his memory, causing the young Uchiha to blush lightly and look away. Sakura looked Sasuke's way, then felt a chill go up and down her spine. Stop licking my fingers, Naruto, she screeched, releasing her hold on the blonde's neck to bop him over the head. OW. You fucking bit me, she roared, quickly pulling her hand out of Naruto's mouth, shaking it up and down to ease the pain. It's your own fault, Naruto shot back, sticking his tongue out at Sakura. If you hadn't hit me on the head when your hand was in my mouth, then I wouldn't have bit you on accident. The Hokage sighed, rubbing his temples. Well? Do we have a deal, Naruto? He asked, hoping to forestall any further argument between the two. Seteen looked away from his fuming teammate. Huh. Oh yeah, sure, Gigi, he replied, feeling Sakura glaring at him. Well, good, Team 7 is dismissed, Sarutobi said, starting to go through some of the documents on his desk. As they were walking out the door, Naruto suddenly stumbled forward, falling into Sakura's back, surprising everyone. Naruto? Naruto! Are you okay? Kakashi demanded as he and Sasuke rushed towards their teammates. Naruto-yaa! Sakura screamed, startling everyone with her sudden outburst as she and they looked down. When Naruto was fondling Sakura's breasts, gently squeezing them. You fucking pervert! Shoving Naruto away, she spun around, delivering a brutal high kick to his chin, sending the poor boy flying through the far window. Don't worry. They'll grow bigger. Naruto's yell faded as he sailed out of sight. That was fairly impressive, Sarutobi hummed while he stroked his chin and Irika's sweat dropped, the other mission assignment ninja holding up various scorecards to rate Sakura's kick. As dusk neared, Naruto stumbled down a street, using a walking stick to keep his balance. It was worth it. Passing an alleyway, Naruto never noticed as an ominous shadowed figure stepped out behind him. Oh, Naruto-kun. Hearing his name called, Naruto started to turn. Hugurk. He was forcefully stopped as a pair of chopsticks were shoved up his nose, bringing him face to face with an evilly grinning Tucci. Hey, what's going on, old man? Naruto asked nervously, his voice nasally from having the suddenly very dangerous-seeming pieces of wood shoved up his nose. Tucci's grin, which didn't quite reach his eyes, grew wider. Oh, you and I have a lot to talk about, boy. Such as what you and my baby girl did last night, and trust me, I know. He growled, grabbing Naruto by the back of his neck in an iron grip. And then I'm going to tell you exactly why that is never going to happen again, understand? Naruto could only gulp and nod fearfully. After the discussion, a smiling Tucci and a very battered-looking Naruto made their way to the ramen shop, Naruto practically falling onto a stool as he lay his head down on the counter and let out a loud groan. Who'd been working the stall, gasped when she saw her boy toy. Oh, Kami! What happened to you, Naruto-kun? Are you alright? She asked worriedly, brushing Naruto's bangs out of his face so she could inspect him better. Head just peachy, Naruto mumbled with a nervous grin, Tucci glaring at him from behind Iam's back while he donned his apron. Yeah, I'm alright. Okay, then Iam trailed off, clearly unconvinced. Do you want something to eat? She asked. Sure, sounds great, Naruto exclaimed, suddenly perking up at the thought of ramen. Alright then. Iam giggled, fixing a plain bowl for her favorite customer. Glancing around, she noticed that her dad's back was turned, so, before Naruto could even dig in, Iam leaned over the counter, grabbing a startled Naruto by the back of his head and pulled him into a searing, if brief kiss, her tongue swirling around in his mouth. There you go, a little special flavoring. she whispered with a giggle, straightening up as Tucci turned back around, completely oblivious, wondering why Naruto was sitting there slack-jawed, his ramen untouched. Hey kid, you alright? Tucci asked, his tone becoming suspicious after a few moments passed. Naruto blinked, coming to his senses. Huh. Yeah, I was just thinking about our talk earlier, believe it, he said in a rushed tone, digging into his food with gusto. Alright, Tucci still looked suspicious though. Seeing this, Ayam slapped her father on the shoulder sharply. I knew it! You did something to Naruto-kun, didn't you? She demanded. But sweetie dash. Tucci tried to defend, cowing in front of his daughter's feminine fury. That earned him another shoulder smack. Don't you sweetie me daddy. How do you ever expect me to get a boyfriend if you keep acting like this? I can't believe you. I'm 16, damn it. Don't you trust me? But I know the two of you fooled around. You stayed at his apartment the entire night. That's because I was teaching him about all the important stuff. I mean, sure, Naruto's a real quick study, and he gave me excellent head. Ayam slapped her hands over her mouth, her eyes going wide as she realized what she let slip. What? Tucci roared, his face reddening as a large, throbbing vein popped up on his forehead. At the same time, Naruto dropped his chopsticks, his eyes bugging out in fear. Tucci rounded on the young blonde, his eyes ablaze. I'll kill ya! He yelled, leaping up onto the counter, brandishing a rolling pin as if it were a cudgel. Oh crap! Sexy jutsu! Naruto yelled out in a panic, resorting to his tried-and-true technique, transforming into his drop-dead gorgeous Naruto form. You sure you wanna hurt this? She pouted, crossing her arms under her generous bust to make it look even bigger. Oh damn, look at them titties! Tucci yelled perversely, giving Naruto 2 thumbs up. Very nice! With that, blood started to spurt out of his nose, and he passed out with a huge grin on his face. And Naruto wins once again. Naruto boasted with a grin, transforming back. I kind of feel bad for having to use it on the old man like that though, he said, scratching the back of his head. Ayam giggled. Don't worry Naruto-kun, I'll take care of daddy, you just get out of here, alright? Sure thing. Naruto said happily, glad that he wouldn't have to deal with Tucci's ire. You gonna be alright though? He asked. Ayam giggled again. Don't worry Naruto-kun, I can handle him easily enough, go on. Oh. One more thing dash. Huh. Naruto looked back, only to blink in surprise as Ayam flashed her breasts at him, then quickly pulled her shirt back down, a light blush on her smiling face. Nice. He exclaimed, giving a thumbs up. And then he was gone into the night. Naruto was walking down a street, patting his half-full belly and smiling. Today was a damn good day overall. Humming, he turned the corner of a building and ran smack into someone, the two of them going down in a tangle of flailing limbs. I feel like I've been in this situation already, Naruto wondered when he finally regained his senses. So, he took a deep whiff and then an experimental lick. Yup, he was face to muff with a woman, for the second time in a 24-hour period. What the hell do you think you're doing, brat? A familiar voice snarled. Before Naruto could even reply, a pair of strong jaws clamped on the back of his jacket, pulling Naruto roughly off the woman he'd fallen into. Looking up, Naruto noticed that it was Kurama that had hold of him, and Sum was getting up, brushing herself off. Do you realize what you just did to me, brat? She asked in a dangerous tone, reaching out and grabbing Naruto by the top of his head. Nobody licks me there without my permission and gets away. And don't think that I haven't talked to your sensei, he told me about a lot of interesting things that happened today. She grinned ferally. I think you need to be punished. Mommy! Naruto screamed shrilly, trying to wiggle free as Sum pulled him down the street. Someone's gotta act like it, and you'll be screaming a lot more by the time I'm done. Sum laughed, heading for the Inuzuka clan compound. Naruto gulped as Sum dragged him into the clan compound, towards the very same storehouse that Naruto and Kiba had received their previous punishment in, to the mild surprise of several clan members that they passed on the way. Naruto looked down at Kuramaru, who was trotting beside them. What's she gonna do to me? He whispered to the dangerous-looking dog. Kuramaru grinned. You remember what she said she thought about doing last time? Most likely that. He answered with a toothy grin, his tail wagging. Naruto gulped again, and was about to answer, when Sum shook him. Hey! The condemned isn't allowed to talk. She barked, barely able to contain a chuckle at the frightened look on Naruto's face. And don't think Kiba will be able to help you either, he's still out, training with his team. She finished, seeing Naruto's eyes dart around as he looked for any avenue of escape. But why am I being punished? Naruto whined, trying to turn the patented puppy dog look on his captor. All I did was he was shut up as some slapper her free hand over his mouth. Not a word about that while we're where other people might overhear you, got it, brat? She said in a dangerous tone, her eyes narrowed. When Naruto nodded fearfully, she grinned ferally. Very good. She purred, sliding open the door, then slamming it shut when they were inside, just the two of them. Hey! What about me? Kuramura barked from the other side of the door, scratching at the frame. Nah, this one I'm gonna take care of alone, sorry partner. Sim called out, turning her attention to Naruto as she dropped him to the floor. You ready for this, brat? She smirked, cracking her knuckles. Naruto grinned hugely when he hit the floor. Ha! I'm free! Now you're gonna pay, he declared, jumping to his feet as he made a very familiar hand sign. Sexy jutsu revised. In a burst of smoke, when it cleared away, in Naruto's place stood a tall, handsome man, with dark, olive skin, a chiseled complexion, and rock-hard body that would make any woman swoon. His large, almond-shaped, chocolate eyes staring soulfully at Sim, running his fingers through his shoulder-length black hair. And he was completely nude, only a wisp of smoke barely protecting his modesty. Why hello there, he purred, his voice heavily accented. You may call me Carlos, how may I be able to service you? He asked, walking seductively towards Sim, who was goggling at him, wide-eyed. Shall you have Carlos show you a good time? The wisp of smoke disappeared at that. Outside, Hannah, who'd been secretly watching, slumped backwards in a faint, blood leaking from her nose with a perverted grin on her face. Back inside, Carlos was walking towards a dumbstruck Sim, sashaying his hips and swinging like Tarzan, that seductive smirk still on his face. Like what you see? He lilted, reaching up to cup her face with one hand as he gazed lustfully into her eyes. Sim blinked once then grinned, letting loose with a right haymaker that caught him in the face, throwing Naruto into the far wall and transforming him back, rubbing his bruising cheek as he lay there, stunned. You hit me! He gasped, blinking stupidly. Sim barked a harsh laugh, crossing her arms under her ample chest. You better believe it, you snot-nosed punk! It takes more than a pretty face and a big banana to get me hot and bothered. If you're gonna try some shit like that, then you'd better be ready to try and tame me, 'cause I like me a good fight to get my motor running. She grinned fairly, crouching a bit. Now then, I believe your punishment is in order? Fuck you, bitch! Naruto yelled, raising both middle fingers as a final act of defiance before Sim shoulder tackled him, sent both of them rolling across the floor for a few feet before finally skidding to a halt, Sim sitting cross-legged on the floor, Naruto laying across her lap, derriere high in the air. Hey, you only wish you could fuck my fine ass, you lil bastard. I'm about to wear yours out though. Sim snorted, grabbing the back of Naruto's pants, pulling them down to expose his bare butt. Here we go, dash. With that, she gave an experimental smack. Huh? Hey, if that's the best you've got, then this might be a cakewalk, kinda kinky, really. I think I'm gonna like this. Naruto boasted, leering in a perverted manner while he wiggled his booty. Come on, baby, lay it to me. And then the second lick fell, much harder this time, with a resounding whap. Oh god, that stung like a motherfucker. Naruto screamed shrilly, suddenly struggling in Sim's iron grip. Come on, let me go. Please? He begged, looking over his shoulder and giving Sim the best puppy dog pout he could pull, large tears welling in his eyes, which were shining pleadingly. Whap! 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 Naruto's answer came in the form of getting his ass blistered by Sim's hand, causing the preteen to give a pained yell, tears leaking out of his eyes. You licked my brat. You ain't getting off that easy. Sim barked, continuing to paddle Naruto, who yelped with each hit. When she finally finished, she pushed Naruto off of her lap, where he landed in a heap as she stood up, his now bright red booty still high in the air. Hey, you look like a baboon. She laughed, pointing. Oi! Why did you do that? Naruto cried, gingerly rubbing his abused bum, trying to ease the pain. Sim smirked, crouching down next to him. Because you licked the forbidden fruit, kid, and needed to be taught the consequences of your actions. She replied seriously. That being said, give you a few years to grow up, and who knows? She whispered huskily in his ear, leaving the question lingering in the air. And then she was gone, the door sliding closed behind her. Gah! Such a mean woman! Naruto grumbled as he continued his ministrations, not wanting to even move until the pain subsided. Without warning, the door slid open again, the sound alerting Naruto. Come back for more? I'll beat ya t. His words were cut off as he looked back, and instead of seeing who he expected, Hannah was sliding the door closed with one foot, her hands behind her back, and a shit-eating grin on her face. What, you want a piece of this too? He blustered, though his brave front was countered by the fact that his cheeks were almost as red now as his other cheeks, being caught in the position he was in. Hannah pouted playfully. Don't tell me that you're gonna treat me like that since I brought this. She brought out a bottle of lotion from behind her back, waving it teasingly. You want it? Naruto huffed, puffing his cheeks in indignation. Well, I ain't exactly in the best of shape to get up and get it, you'll have to give me a few minutes, he replied, referring to his current position. Hana giggled, swaying her hips as she walked towards the young blonde. Then you'd better be glad I'm here to give you a hand, huh? She asked with a smirk, sitting down cross-legged beside the boy, squirting some lotion into her hands and rubbing them together. Huh! Water yo yow! That's cold! Naruto complained in shock as Hana's hands began to deftly knead his sore bum. A sigh of relief quickly followed though as his cheeks began to feel better, the stinging sensation beginning to leave. Heh, thanks, I guess you really are nice after all, I'm feeling a lot better, he exclaimed giddily. Hana's smirk grew into a full-blown grin, her hands latching onto Naruto's hips, bemusing the young teen. You remember what I said the other night? She asked. Maybe? Naruto blinked confusedly, obviously he didn't. Hana sniggered, pulling Naruto into her lap, her breast squishing against his shoulders. I think maybe you're old enough after all, she whispered seductively in his ear, squirting more lotion into one of her hands. Now then, I'm gonna make you feel a lot better, Carlos. She giggled, causing Naruto to blush deeply as she reached around his waist, her wriggling fingers wrapping around his rapidly hardening member. Holy shit! She thought in surprise, her eyes going wide as she looked over Naruto's shoulder to see just what she was grabbing. Elsewhere, a sleeping Manda the Snake King opened one giant baleful eye, hissing mightily. Naruto blinked confusedly, tilting his head to look into Hana's gobsmacked face. Hey, you okay? He asked, confused as to why she'd stopped. Hana blinked a few times, then grinned. Oh yes indeed. She lilted, reaching up with her other hand and grabbing him by the top of his head, pulling it to the side to expose his neck. You're mine now, baby. With that, she bit down lightly on Naruto's neck and started to suck, causing Naruto to groan in ecstasy as she began to stroke with her other hand, and a whapping sound of a different nature began to echo through the room. A short time later, Kiba came barreling into his mother's house in the compound, grinning like a loon with Akamaru yipping excitedly at his heels. Mum! I'm home! He called out, taking his shoes off. Is dinner ready yet? I'm starving. Kurenai-sensei worked us to the bone. Hey son. Some called back lazily from the kitchen. I just started, but dinner will be ready soon, why don't you go get a bath? I can smell you from in here. Alright. Kiba called back. Come on, Akamaru, he said, making his way towards the bathroom, the small dog trotting beside him. Entering the small changing room, Kiba quickly finished getting undressed, throwing his dirty clothes in the hamper and getting his bathing supplies together, and putting them in his bathing bucket, holding it under one arm along with his towel, opening the sliding door with his other. And blinked stupidly as Hana, who was already in the tub, her face and neck flushed red and breathing hard, looked up at him, the two locking eyes for just an instant. Then both looked down at Kiba's naked body, before looking up at each other again. Kiba, you little perverted twerp! Get out of here! She screamed, chucking her own bathing bucket at the stunned teen's face, nailing him between the eyes and knocking him back into the changing area. Wah! I'm sorry, sis! Kiba yelled frightfully, quickly shutting the door back and pulling his skivvies back on and rushing out of there as fast as he could possibly go, Akamaru on his heels. Back in the bathroom, Hana huffed, pushing her hair back with her hands. Stupid little brother, she muttered darkly. Without warning, a mess of wet blonde hair broke the surface as Naruto came up, gulping loudly. Wah! Air! Precious air! He gasped, rubbing his face with his hands. Were you just saying something? He asked, looking at Hana innocently. Hana smirked. Will, she droned. I was about to start yelling Okami. But someone just had to stop, didn't you? Get back down there, you aren't done yet, she ordered playfully, dunking Naruto back below the surface and held him there, her giggles turning into moans of pleasure as he resumed his ministrations. Half an hour later, Kiba was laying on his bed, reading a basic scroll on genjutsu that Kurenai-sensei had given him and his teammates, when a knock came at his door. Hey twerp, Hana said nonchalantly, letting herself in. Bathroom's free now. Setting the scroll down, Kiba sat up, looking at his sister. Hey, thanks, he replied. I'm sorry about walking in on you though, I didn't know you were in there. He apologized, sheepishly scratching the back of his head. Hana smirked, walking over to ruffle Kiba's hair. It's alright, I'll forgive you this time. Just don't let it happen again, or I'll have to kick your ass, she replied easily. Anyway, the bath is running for you. I just thought you should know though, your friend Naruto is in there already. I already threw his clothes in the wash, So can he borrow one of your outfits? You guys are about the same size, she asked. Kiba blinked at that. Huh? Naruto's here? How come? And why'd you put his stuff in the wash if he didn't have anything else? He asked, confused. Hana shrugged. He did something, and it pissed Mom off, so she gave him an ass whipping. And she remembered just why they needed to strip Naruto, throw his clothes in the wash, and put him in the bath in the first place. It had gotten everywhere. His clothes were just really dirty. His sensei must have worked them into the ground or something. She finished with a shrug. Kiba laughed at that. Ha! Leave it to the class clown to get in trouble with Mom. He sniggered, imagining his friend's misfortune. I ain't sharing underwear with him though. That's just gross. He made a face. Hana smirked as well. Anyway, Mom said dinner should be ready in about 10 minutes or so you better get washed up. With that, Hana ruffled Kiba's hair one last time, then left to go help their mother with the dinner preparations. Kiba walked into the changing room, a spare set of clothes under his arm. Hey Naruto, you still in there? He called out. Nope, I'm running around your family's compound with my junk just flapping in the breeze, came the amused reply, getting Kiba to chuckle at the amusing thought of just how horrified some of the clan members would be. Seeing a naked kid running around outside, at least, he figured they'd be horrified anyway. Yeah, well, I brought you a change of clothes, he announced, setting said bundle down so that he could start stripping down himself. You ain't expecting me to wear a pair of your jockeys, I hope? 'Cause to be honest, that'd just be gross. Kiba snorted. Yeah, tell me about it. You'd better still have your own. I don't want you freeballing in my pants, he demanded. The door slid open, revealing Naruto standing there in nothing but a towel, squinting at Kiba. Please, there is such thing as honor amongst men, you know, he retorted, reaching down and retrieving his boxers off the floor. Huh, I figured that you would have had some stupid pictures of fish cakes on your boxers or something, Kiba commented, noting the plain orange underpants that Naruto was pulling on before handing him the outfit he'd gotten for him. This caused Naruto to laugh, pointing at Kiba's own boxers, which had little doggies printed on them. Kinda like that? He teased. Shut up, Kiba groused, removing said undergarment and tossing it in the laundry before wrapping a towel around his waist. So, you gonna be staying for dinner? Naruto blinked at that, crossing his arms over his chest as he squinted again. I dunno, would your mom be cool with that? He asked, trying to keep the hopeful tone out of his voice at the thought of being able to sit down and eat with an actual family. Kiba shrugged nonchalantly. I don't see why not, she always makes a pretty big meal anyway, and she seems to have taken a liking to ya, or she wouldn't treat you the way she does. Meh, I don't know. Naruto grinned, slapping Kiba's shoulder. Well, I'd better go ask then, huh? You better hurry up and get a bath while you still can, he exclaimed. Kiba's eyes widened comically at that. Oh crap, you're right. Hana said I only had 10 minutes. He yelped, grabbing up his bathing supplies and running for the bathroom, sliding open the door. Why hello there, big boy, are you here to wash me? Cooed a sultry-looking blonde woman who was standing on the other side, leaning forward and cupping her breasts, giving Kiba an ample look. Gah! Kiba yelped, blood gushing from his nose as he flew backwards, unconscious before he even hit the floor, blood pooling around his head as he grinned perversely, his towel tenting. Wah-ha-ha! Gotcha, dog breath! Naruto cackled hysterically, pointing at Kiba's unconscious form as his sexified shadow clone disappeared in a poof of smoke. Still giggling, Naruto pulled out a marker and doodled on Kiba's face before running off to see if Tsum would really let him join them for dinner. He'd almost felt bad for his prank almost. A short time later found Tsum, Hana, Kiba, and Naruto sitting around a low table, eating a large, hearty meal that consisted of mostly meat. It was unusually quiet, with Kiba shooting Naruto the occasional glare, Hana smirking at the blonde every time she looked at him, a small blush to her cheeks. And Tsum? She was just sitting there, an unreadable expression on her face, her gaze occasionally darting to the large hickey on the side of Naruto's neck, and her nostrils flaring. Naruto, she finally started after she was done. Humph? The blonde grunted intelligently, his mouth full of sausage, looking up at Tsum with a curious expression. You smell really strongly of Hana. It wasn't even an accusation, just a simple statement, one that caused Naruto to start choking, his eyes bulging out comically, even as Hana did a spit take, spraying Kiba with her tea. Why dash? We are a dash. Both of them stammered at the same time, surreptitiously getting ready to bolt from the table. Huh? What's so bad about that? Kiba asked, confused, wiping the tea from his face and shooting his older sister a small glare. Some gave both Naruto and Hana a flat stare, stilling them with fear. I'll let it slide just this once, but I'd better never actually catch you at it, and if you're bumping uglies, you better believe you're getting married that same day, you understand? She growled. Naruto gulped, nodding fearfully, while Kiba's mouth dropped open at the accusation, pointing at the two of them wordlessly. Hana gulped, nodding, even as she sent a silent prayer that her mother never found out that she had actually had sex before, even if it had only been twice. Wait. Kiba suddenly slapped his hands down on the table, his eyes still wide. You mean that the two of you have been, like, making out and stuff? He questioned, bewildered. Are you guys dating or something? Naruto scratched the back of his head nervously, looking pointedly away, while Hana blushed crimson. Well, not really, it was a kinda heat of the moment thing. Sorry, Mom. She quickly apologized, answering Kiba's question at the same time. Yeah? Sorry, Mom. Naruto quickly parroted, bowing his head deeply, not realizing what he'd said. Everything stopped at that, even a lone cricket that had been chirping outside. Did I say something wrong? Naruto asked, confused, still scratching the back of his head. Yukiba's mouth dropped open in shock. Hana started at the same time. Was the kid trying to say something with that? Wait, he didn't really want to marry her, did he? You called me Mom? Some gasped quietly, her eyes widening. Naruto blushed scarlet at that. I'm sorry, he murmured, bowing his head. Suddenly, Naruto was surprised to find himself being pulled into a gentle hug, some having come over to him without his realizing it. It's okay, she replied softly, stroking his hair, his face nestled against her breasts. It must have been hard, growing up alone. You don't have to be sorry, it's alright. She cooed, continuing to stroke his golden locks. Hesitantly, Naruto reached up, tentatively returning the hug he was receiving, and used to this kind of warm feeling. Thank you, came his muffled reply. Was this what love really felt like? Some smiled softly, while Hana and Kiba stood off to the side, Hana squeezing the life out of Kiba with her own hug, tearfully watching the scene unfold. You're welcome, son. That night, Naruto and Kiba lay in Kiba's room, Kiba in his bed, and Naruto on a futon on the floor beside him, his arms crossed underneath his head as he looked up at the ceiling. Hey, Kiba? He started uncertainly. Yeah? Kiba asked, turning onto his side so that he could look down at his friend. I just wanted to say thanks, man. You've got an awesome family. It's nice, just being treated normally for once. His face darkened in a slight blush, and used to being so open with how he felt. Kiba couldn't help but feel a little bad about that. He'd been one of the kids that had made fun of Naruto in the academy. After all, well, that had been everyone actually, except for a few people. Shikamaru, who just found it too troublesome, Chuji, who didn't like to pick on people, Shino and Sasuke, both of which just seemed to ignore the blonde, and Hinata, who seemed to have really taken a shine to the boy in question. Hey, it's no problem, dude. I'm just sorry for how I used to treat you, you know? You're actually pretty cool, Naruto. He apologized. Naruto waved a hand dismissively. Hey. Don't worry about it, alright? The past is the past, there's no reason to worry about it. He replied easily. I just think it's cool that we're hanging out now, you know? Kiba laughed at that. Yeah, well, if you keep up with Mom like that, or if you keep mackin' with my sister, we might wind up being brothers. He laughed. Naruto smiled. That would be nice, he quietly agreed. He never told anyone, and he probably never would, but his greatest wish wasn't to become Hokage, it was to be able to say he was part of a family. Kiba chuckled. Yeah, maybe then I wouldn't be quite so outnumbered. Hey, Kiba? Naruto asked, a grin spreading across his face. Yeah? Kiba was curious about what Naruto wanted now. If I married your mom, would you call me daddy? Naruto's answer was a pillow smacking him in the face while he laughed. Later that night, Naruto was sound asleep, happily dreaming of several naked girls swimming around in a pool of ramen, with him right in the center, when suddenly he was rudely awakened by something being held over his mouth. His eyes snapping open, Naruto prepared to fight off his assailant, only to spot Hana, who was leaning over him, making a shushing motion. Follow me, and don't wake the twerp up. She mouthed silently, before lifting her hand from his mouth and sneaking back out of Kiba's room. Curious, Naruto got up to follow Hana, stealthily following behind her, making sure not to wake Kiba as he left. Following Hana down a hall, Naruto couldn't help but to admire her shapely behind, which was covered by a fluffy pink robe. Finally, the duo got to Hana's room, and after Naruto entered, she followed behind him, shutting the door behind her. Sit, she ordered, pointing to her bed. Naruto promptly complied, sitting down on the bed as he looked at Hana, who followed suit. "What's up?" he asked, squinting his eyes and tilting his head to the side, watching the older girl. Hana sighed, running her fingers through her hair. "Listen, kiddo," she started. "I don't want things to be weird between us or anything, but I'm just not looking for a boyfriend, you know? I was just wanting to have some fun, and while you were pretty fun, I don't want a serious relationship with anyone right now. I want to be known as my own person. Understand?" she asked. Naruto grinned, nodding. "Yeah, I gotcha. I wasn't exactly looking for a serious relationship with you either. That whole thing was completely out of the blue," he agreed. Hana let out a sigh of relief. Usually, someone would equate what they did with emotional attachment. "That's good," she smiled. "Now that we've got the awkwardness out of the way, you're pretty damn talented with your tongue, and I'm not opposed to being friends with benefits." She licked her lips sultrily. "And who knows, maybe in the future, we can even be fuck buddies." Naruto grinned, scooting closer to Hana. "I'm definitely cool with that." With that, he grabbed her robe by the shoulders, pulling it open enough to reveal that Hana wasn't wearing anything underneath. "Oh, you naughty girl." He grinned even wider, moving in to kiss her neck. Without warning, Hana shoved Naruto back down until he was laying on the bed, confusing the teen. "Oh, you don't have any idea yet just how naughty I can be, but you're about to find out, Carlos," she said with a sultry grin, taking off her robe and letting it fall in a heap. Before Naruto could say anything, Hana straddled his chest. "Now then, you ready to begin?" she grinned, turning around on top of him and bending over, giving him a perfect up-close view of her most private area while she unzipped his pants, pulling his little man free. "This is called the 69. I'd call it perfection," Naruto replied with a grin, grabbing Hana's hips and bringing his face right into the thick of it, his swirling tongue leading the way. And so 2 weeks passed without much incident, with a few notable exceptions, that is. The first came a few days after Naruto had spent the night at the Inuzuka's, when Team 7 was hired to perform some simple roof maintenance for an old couple. Sakura had been walking along the edge of the roof, bringing supplies to Kakashi and Sasuke, when suddenly one of the tiles that she stepped on slipped out from under her, pitching the young girl off the roof. "Sakura!" Kakashi exclaimed, reaching for his falling student, only to miss by a half-inch. The only thing that stopped him from leaping after his student was Naruto's loud yell. "I got ya, Sakura-chan!" he exclaimed, positioning himself to catch her falling form, the two of them collapsing to the ground to disperse the impact, Sakura laying on top of Naruto, who had his arms wrapped around her waist. "Thank you, Naruto." Sakura breathed a sigh of relief, thankful for once for the blonde knucklehead, patting his hands, which were still wrapped around her waist. Naruto grinned. "I'm just glad you're safe," he replied sincerely. Sakura nodded. "Yakya," she suddenly screeched. "Huh?" Naruto grunted, confused. He was only grinding his crotch against her ass, after all perfectly acceptable, considering he just saved her, right? "You fucking pervert!" Sakura screeched, slamming an elbow into Naruto's grinning face, driving his head into the ground, then getting up, storming off in a righteous fury. "It was worth it," Naruto replied weakly, giving a thumbs up while Kakashi and Sasuke both sighed, shaking their heads at their teammates' antics. That night, Naruto was sitting on the roof of a building, eating onigiri, when he suddenly felt a presence behind him. Looking over his shoulder, he discovered that it was Sakura who was standing there. "Hey Sakura-chan, what's up? Want an onigiri?" he asked, offering one of the rice balls to her. "Thanks, Naruto," Sakura replied, taking the offered food and sitting beside her teammate, looking out at the city. "Naruto, why do you like me so much?" she suddenly asked. Naruto stopped eating, looking down at the food in his hands. "It all started that one day," he replied quietly. "That one day? What day?" Sakura asked, confused. Naruto couldn't help but look at Sakura. "You really don't remember?" he asked. Seeing Sakura shake her head in the negative, he had to let out a small laugh. "That figures," he chuckled. "Well, we just started at the academy." Flashback. A young Naruto, only 5 years old, was sitting on a swing, looking at the other kids with a blank stare, his eyes seemingly devoid of any emotion, his stomach grumbling while all of the other kids enjoyed their lunches. Suddenly, a young Sakura came up to him, looking at him curiously. "Why are you sitting here all alone? Don't you have any lunch?" she asked. "No," Naruto monotoned, still staring straight ahead, his stomach rumbling lightly again. "Well, that's no good," Sakura exclaimed, putting her hands on her hips. "Come on, my mom made me a big lunch, you can have some of mine." Naruto looked up at her finally, his eyes wide and full of hope someone was finally paying attention to him. Really? He asked quietly. Yeah, Sakura replied with a grin, holding her hand out to him. Hesitantly, Naruto took Sakura's hand, a small grin spreading across his face as well, his eyes finally showing some emotion. Thank you? Flashback end. Sakura gasped as the long-forgotten memory came back to her. So that was when she trailed off, not knowing what to say. Naruto nodded. Yeah, aside from Sarutobi Gigi, Old Man Tucci, and I am Munchin, you were one of the only people to ever be nice to me. Naruto Sakura started. It's okay, Sakura-chan. With that, the two sat on the roof, eating the rice balls in silence. The next incident came at the week-and-a-half mark came when Naruto had another run-in with Kurenai and her team again, quite literally. Hi, Kurenai-sensei. Naruto trailed off, gulping as he looked up into Kurenai's face from her cleavage again. This time, it had been when Naruto started to exit from the mission's office with his team, not knowing that Kurenai and hers were about to come through. And just what the hell do you think you're doing? Kurenai growled, leaking killing intent which bore down on Naruto, while in the background Kiba was sniggering, Kakashi was giving him a thumbs up, Sakura and Hinata both looked aghast, and Sasuke and Shino? They were staring each other down. Nothing? Naruto laughed nervously, while his wiggling fingers slowly closed in on her breasts, fully intending on getting in as much groping as they could before she could kill him. Unfortunately, before Naruto could claim his prizes, he was stopped as a small hand clamped around one of his wrists. Looking over to see who would stop him from caressing those heavenly domes, Naruto was quite surprised to find himself face to face with none other than Hinata, who had a strange gleam in her eyes. No, Naruto-kun, but I don't think that would be a very wise move, she stated, a slight tremor in her voice. Indeed, you need to be punished, Kurenai growled, getting ready to bop the blonde. No, I will handle it, Sensei, Hinata demurred, still holding on to Naruto's wrist. Sakura decided to step in at that point herself. No, you shouldn't have to worry about the idiot Hinata, I'll take over it from here, she replied, moving to grab Naruto herself. I said that I will handle it. The venom in Hinata's voice caused both Sakura and Kurenai to take a step back, while Naruto looked at her with no small amount of horror. Who knew that sweet little Hinata could be so commanding? Mao, don't I get any say in this? I am his Jonin sensei after all, Kakashi asked, scratching the back of his head. Hinata turned her Hyuga glare on said teacher. No, she replied simply. I feel so left out, Kiba whined, absolutely no one paying him any attention. Sasuke and Shino, meanwhile, were still locked in their stare down. Come, Naruto, Hinata demanded, tugging on Naruto's wrist while walking towards the door. Can't someone help me? Naruto pleaded, only for Kakashi, Kurenai, and Sakura to look pointedly away, ignoring the blonde, when Hinata shot them a withering glare from behind him. Bereft of options, Naruto hung his head and quietly followed Hinata, wondering just how badly he was about to be punished. I need an adult, he cried pitifully, the doors swinging closed behind him with an eerie finality. Whoa, trippy, Kiba commented. Yeah, Hinata was acting pretty strange, Sakura agreed, sweat dropping. Kurenai, meanwhile, continued to stare at the door her favorite student left out of along with that pervert. What caused you to finally lose your temper, Hinata? She wondered to herself. Sasuke finally broke his gaze away from Shino, unable to compete with his level of staringness. You win this one, bug boy, he said shortly. I always win, was the monotone reply. Outside, Hinata dragged a confused Naruto all the way to his apartment, kicking in the door before flinging Naruto inside, then shutting the door behind her, a hungry look in her eyes. Hinata? Naruto asked weakly, standing in front of his bed. Then Hinata pounced, tackling Naruto onto his bed, repeatedly kissing his face and neck before grabbing his hands, making him grab her. Feel them. Feel them, she demanded wildly. Okay, Naruto cried, squeezing Hinata's breasts in fright. I'm feeling. Good, Hinata snarled, ripping open Naruto's jacket. Is that a hickey? She demanded, seeing the large bruise on Naruto's neck. Oh, I don't care, she continued before he could answer, bending forward so she could suckle on the other side of his neck while she ran her hands up under his shirt, feeling his bare body. Finally Hinata let up, sitting up and straddling Naruto's legs so that he couldn't get away. Looking down, she saw the surprise and confusion in the young blonde's face at her suddenly fierce attitude. I know what just happened, she asked, finally coming to her senses, blinking confusedly. I think you were about to me? Naruto asked, a small amount of trepidation and maybe some hope. Oh no! Hinata cried out, covering her furiously blushing face with her hands as she flung herself off of Naruto. I'm so sorry. I don't know what came over me, she stammered, tears welling in her eyes. Hinata? Naruto asked, growing concerned. Oh, you must hate me now. I'm so sorry. Hinata started to cry, sobbing uncontrollably, covering her face with her hands. I don't hate you. Hinata hiccuped, her sobs starting to settle a little as a warm hand settled on her shoulder. Peeking from between her eyes, Hinata saw Naruto's gently smiling face. Really? She asked hesitantly. A rejection right now would utterly crush her. Naruto grinned, taking both of Hinata's hands in his own, pulling them away from her face. Believe it, he replied softly, kissing Hinata's tear-streaked cheeks. Na Naruto-kun, Hinata stammered, blushing fiercely. Naruto grinned. If you want to get back to what we were doing though, we can take a shower and I can get you clean, real clean, and by that, I mean I'll eat you out until you squirt like a spray bottle. He grinned pervertedly. Hinata, her face lighting up even more, could only do one thing, and promptly passed out, collapsing bonelessly into Naruto's arms. Not that it stopped them from taking that shower after she woke up, of course. So yes, aside from those incidents, the 2 weeks passed without much note. And so, on the final day of those 2 weeks, Team 7 was in the mission's office, eagerly awaiting their first C-rank mission. So shall I give you another D-rank mission today? I do believe that Tora managed to escape again. Sarutobi teased, lightly rolling the C-rank scroll across the table with one finger. Cut the crap, old man, Naruto complained. I managed to go 2 whole weeks without causing any trouble. I should get some kind of medal for that. Hey! Don't talk to Hokage-sama like that, Sakura yelled, bopping Naruto over the head while Kakashi sighed. Sasuke, for his part, just glanced away. Dobe, he muttered under his breath. Sarutobi chuckled heartily at the amusing scene. Fine, he said dismissively. I do believe that I've already chosen the perfect mission for you, he muttered, rolling open the scroll. Naruto perked up at that. Are we gonna be saving a country from an invading force? Maybe stopping an evil tyrant? Or are we escorting some super important person? Huh. What are we doing, Gigi? He asked excitedly. Sarutobi chuckled again. Well, you will be escorting someone, he trailed off, motioning to one of the other ninja in the room. If you would, fetch the client, Tazuna, for me. Team 7, who was waiting in the mission's office for their client, turned to the door when it started to slide open, revealing a shadowed figure that was silhouetted against the sun, which was shining through a window behind the person, and then the door shut, revealing the figure to be an obviously drunk old man, who glared at the team, taking a swig from his sake jug. Who the hell are these brats? He asked shortly. This is your team, Tazuna, sir, Iruka replied, chuckling nervously while scratching the back of his head. Faye, they all look useless, especially the short idiot, Tazuna snorted. Naruto snorted laughter himself, looking to see who the short one was, and noticed, standing between Sasuke and Sakura, that he was the short one, and both of his teammates were trying, and failing, to hold in their own snorts of amusement. Hey! What do you mean by that, you old bastard? He demanded, pointing at Tazuna. That got a raised eyebrow. That I'd probably be safer by myself than with you. For some reason, that didn't even really seem like a question. Why I ought to, Naruto started, his fingers forming a familiar seal. No! Sarutobi, Iruka, and Kakashi shouted at the same time, appearing around Naruto, Kakashi holding Naruto's hands while Iruka held him in a headlock and Sarutobi karate chopped the top of his head. Naruto, we don't need the client dying of blood loss, Sarutobi chastised. Don't worry, I can personally guarantee that me team is more than ready, and I myself am an elite jonin, in case anything goes wrong. Kakashi tried to reassure Tazuna, who was sweat dropping at the scene. Whatever, Tazuna finally said, waving them off dismissively. Just make sure that you're ready to go when I am, he ordered. Man, I have a feeling that this is gonna suck worse than a kick to the giblets. Naruto deadpanned after Tazuna left, everyone else silently agreeing with him. Naruto sat at his favorite ramen stand. Earlier, the old man had, albeit begrudgingly, forgiven him, and that was probably helped by the fact that Ayam was standing behind him at the time with a rolling pin, of course. Naruto was their best customer after all, telling old man Tucci and Ayam about the mission he was about to go on. Man, this is gonna be terrible. The client sucks, the mission sounds like it's going to suck, and worst of all, I won't be able to eat any of your ramen while I'm gone, he complained, pouting. Tucci chuckled at that. Well, that may be, but you know you could always carry a sandwich board with you while you travel, right? That way you can remember us, and advertise for the shop at the same time. He laughed boisterously, slapping Naruto's shoulder. Ayam frowned. How long will you be gone, Naruto-kun? She asked worriedly. Naruto shrugged his shoulders as he slurped down another bowl of plain ramen. I dunno. We've got to get the old coot there, then guard him while he finishes the bridge, and who knows how long that'll take. He whined, a noodle hanging on the corner of his mouth. Ayam giggled. You're so cute, Naruto-kun, she said, plucking the noodle off of Naruto's face and eating it, causing the young teen to blush, and Tsuchi to give him a gimlet stare. Daddy, I'll be back in a minute, she said, heading for the back. Where are you going, sweetheart? Tsuchi asked, looking back at his daughter. Ayam sighed, shaking her head. Dad, I've got to go do some private business, she replied with a roll of her eyes. Oh, you're going to the bathroom. Tsuchi's answer was a sandal smacking him in the face. Naruto watched with amusement as Tsuchi peeled the sandal off and went back to making him yet another pot of ramen. Hey Naruto, I've got a new recipe I want you to try out, the old man exclaimed, setting out the ingredients. I've thought about adding teriyaki eel in to see how it'd go. You interested? He asked, already slicing up an eel. Sure thing, old man. Naruto heartily agreed he'd need to get in as much ramen eating before going after all. Suddenly, Naruto felt a tug on his pants leg, and looking down, was surprised to see a grinning Ayam looking up at him. Hey, what the heck are you doing? He mouthed incredulously, looking up to make sure that Tsuchi wasn't looking in his direction before his eyes darted back down. Ayam smirked sultrily, licking her lips as she forced Naruto's legs open, sliding between them until her head was just inches from his crotch. I'm giving you a going-away present, she mouthed back with a giggle, reaching for his zipper. Hey, your old man is right there. Naruto tried to smack away Ayam's probing fingers. Then I guess you better keep a poker face on then, huh? Ayam ignored his feeble attempts to keep her at bay and pulled the zipper down, one hand slipping in to pull his penis out, and with a few coercive strokes, got it semi-hard. Here you go, Naruto! Tsuchi exclaimed boisterously, putting the bowl of steaming ramen in front of the young teen, surprising him. You alright, kid? He asked, seeing the bugged-out look on Naruto's face. You just fine. Naruto squeaked out as Ayam breathed on the head of his cock, then gave it an experimental lick. Well, eat up. Tsuchi grinned. You bet. Naruto agreed shakily, quickly lifting the entire thing to his lips with trembling hands. Then Ayam lifted his cock up with one hand and cupped his balls with her other, licking the underside of his shaft from the tip to the base, then began to suck on his nuts as she gently massaged his cock, making Naruto as hard as he'd ever been as she twirled her tongue around his sack. Well, how is it? Tsuchi asked. Naruto gave the old man a shaky thumbs up. There was no way he was putting the bowl down right then. If Tsuchi saw his face, he'd know something was wrong, and the jig would be up. Meanwhile, Ayam turned her attention back to Naruto's pecker, kissing it until she got to the tip again, and opened up, taking inch after inch of Naruto's rock-hard meat into her mouth, lightly sucking on it while she reached around with one hand and grabbed his ass, using her other to massage his balls. Finally, she managed to get the entire thing in her mouth without gagging, and began to suck as hard as she could, her head bobbing up and down. Oh God! Naruto gasped, slapping the table with one hand as he set the now empty bowl down. Tsuchi grinned. So you like it? Want another? He asked. Yes. Oh God, yes. Naruto squeaked out as Ayam began to hum, giggling mentally at her boy toy's antics. Tsuchi laughed. I didn't know it was that good. He laughed, teasing the poor boy. Huh, Ayam sure is taking a long time in there, he mused, starting to prepare another bowl. It sure is, Naruto moaned, his hips starting to buck lightly in rhythm with Ayam's bobbing, feeling like he was about to explode. There you are, Tsuchi said, placing the fresh bowl of teriyaki eel ramen in front of a shaking Naruto. I am coming, Naruto groaned, quickly picking the bowl up and eating to hide his face as Tsuchi looked at him curiously, wondering why he'd say such an odd thing. And come Naruto did, exploding in Ayam's mouth, the girl greedily sucking down every drop of Naruto's sperm, making sure lick him clean while Naruto moaned, his head thunking down on the counter, making his O face. Maybe I shouldn't serve teriyaki eel ramen after all, if it gets that kind of reaction. Tsuchi's sweat dropped, poking at the empty bowls with a stick. Naruto could only groan weakly in response while Ayam quietly giggled, licking her lips. Team 7, along with Tazuna, were walking along a road. Tazuna, Sasuke and Sakura looking curiously at Naruto, who had a weak grin on his face as he dragged his feet along. Kakashi was reading his Ika, giggling perversely. Hey, is there something wrong with the blonde brat? Tazuna whispered to Sakura. Sakura, for her part, continued to study Naruto curiously. I don't know, she whispered back. Hey Naruto, are you alright? She called out worriedly. Slowly, Naruto turned his head to look at Sakura, then beamed widely, giving her a thumbs up. You bet. Believe it, he replied cheerfully, then whipped out his own copy of Ika Paradise, sticking his nose deeply into the book as he began to read. Right, Sakura deadpanned, shaking her head with a sigh of defeat before turning to talk to Sasuke. Tazuna, in the meantime, was looking curiously at the books that both Naruto and Kakashi were reading. Hey, what are you reading? He asked Kakashi, approaching the tall Jonin. Said Jonin smiled at his client. Why, only the greatest literature ever, he replied enthusiastically, reaching into his pouch and pulling out another copy. I always keep spares, just in case, he replied to Tazuna's questioning stare. Taking the offered book, Tazuna looked down at it skeptically. Well, thanks, he replied lamely, opening the book to pass the time. Then flipped to the next page. Then the next. Kakashi-san? Tazuna's grip tightened on the book. Yes? Kakashi asked, looking up at Tazuna, who was grinning broadly, unable to tear his eyes from the book. This is the greatest thing ever, he exclaimed, giggling perversely. I know, right? Kakashi replied, giggling as well. For his part, Naruto could only giggle in response. Sakura sighed, palming her face. Idiots, we're surrounded by idiots, she moaned. HN was Sasuke's reply, his eyes cutting confusedly towards their blonde teammate. A few days later, the group were continuing their trek towards their destination, passing by a puddle which made Naruto realize that he really had to pee. Hold on a second, guys. I've got to drain the lizard, he called out, standing over the puddle and unzipping his pants. Naruto, you perverted jackass. Don't go whipping it out in front of me like that, Sakura yelled, moving to pummel Naruto. But Sakura dash. Naruto whined, doing a pee-pee dance. Please? I really gotta go. Believe it, he pleaded. No wa dash. Sakura started, only to stop as she looked down, her face lighting up in a blush. Apparently the wily weenus was free already. Ah. What the hell, Naruto? Fine. Just hurry up, you perverted jerk. Sakura snapped, her face cherry red as she turned her back on Naruto. But don't think that's gonna keep me from kicking your ass after you're done, she yelled. Naruto shuddered at the thought of the impending beating, and turned to piss in the puddle. When it suddenly burst upwards, revealing two dangerous-looking ninja connected together by a spiked chain. Woogie boogie. You gonna get cut, bitch, snarled one of the masked ninja, both of them towering over Naruto. Wah! Naruto screamed shrilly, his eyes bugging out comically as he started to piss upwards, right into the face of the ninja that threatened him. Oh god, that's disgusting, the nin yelled, stumbling back as he rubbed at his eyes, trying to get the piss out of them. Oh hell no, you pissed in my brother's face, the other attacker roared, moving in for the kill, only for the still screaming Naruto turned on him, the whiz still flying, splashing across the man's eyes. Gah! He yelled, stumbling back as well. To have Naruto kick him in the balls while Sasuke elbowed the man in the back of the head, Kakashi knocking the other one out with a swift chop to the neck while Sakura stood guard, scanning the area for any other threats. Good job, team, Kakashi congratulated, picking up the two enemy shinobi. A short time later, the two, known as the Demon Brothers, woke up to find themselves without their equipment and tied to a tree, with a glaring Kakashi Hatake standing over them with his arms crossed, his team and the mark standing a small distance behind him. So, looks like we failed, Goza muttered. Yeah, you know what we need to do, brother, Mizu agreed, and both bit down hard. Only for nothing to happen. Huh? Mizu grunted, surprised. Kakashi I smiled. Looking for these? He asked, holding up a pair of cyanide pills. Yeah, I know who you guys are, Demon Brothers, and I'm not taking any chances. With that, he threw the pills into the forest. So, care to tell me why two former Mist Ninja were attacking my team and client? He asked, his tone suddenly becoming very dangerous. Mizu gulped, while Goza sneered at Kakashi defiantly. You may be hot shit, copycat Kakashi, but give us some damn credit, man, we aren't gonna roll over and talk that easily, even for someone like you. He spat. Kakashi smiled, there suddenly becoming heavy as he released his killer intent. Well, then I guess we'll just have to resort to more asinine methods then, won't we? He asked. Gozu and Mizu had to look at one another at that. Asinine? Don't you mean archaic, or draconian? Mizu asked, sweat dropping while Gozu chuckled at the legendary shinobi's apparent stupidity. Kakashi's answer was to snap his fingers. Naruto, if you'd please? He asked pleasantly. Yes, YSSS. Naruto hissed, cackling like a mad scientist while rubbing his hands together. I owe these two buffoons for startling me earlier. Sakura snorted at that, surprised that Naruto even knew what buffoon meant. Kakashi clapped his hands together. Excellent. Well, you kids have fun. I'll take Tazuna, Sasuke, and Sakura over that way a bit to prepare lunch, he said, motioning dismissively back towards the road. Mizu snorted laughter at that. What's this kid gonna do cockashit? Dress us up with his hideous fashion sense? Bore us with tales of preteen love? He asked Kakashi's retreating form in amusement, causing Gozu to burst out into peals of laughter. Kakashi looked over his shoulder, smiling sinisterly. Actually, Naruto has already told me what he's going to do, and let me say, what he has planned. Even a seasoned jonin wouldn't be able to put up under that kind of torture for long. He left his ominous words to hang in the air, disappearing through the tree line. Gozu and Mizu looked at each other, gulping, before looking at the evilly grinning blonde, who had made a cross-shaped hand seal. You wouldn't happen to be related to Ibiki Marino, head of Konoha's TNI division, are you? Gozu asked, beginning to sweat. Naruto cocked his head to the side, squinting. Huh. No, I don't think so, he replied with a shrug. Anyway, let's get this over with, shall we, boys? Shadow clone jutsu. He called out, the area around them shimmering as 50 shadow clones came into existence. Huh. What are you gonna do with those? Beat the crap out of us? Mizu asked, putting on a brave front. You only wish, Naruto replied, sniggering as he formed another hand sign. Harem technique. Suddenly, where several young boys had stood, now were that many beautiful naked blonde women, each one looking at the two brothers with bedroom eyes. Why hello there, one of the Narukos purred, sauntering over to Gozu, while another bent over in front of Mizu, giving him a full view. Like what you see? She asked in a sultry tone, causing both men to nearly faint, blood squirting out of their noses. Yes. Mizu squeaked out, his eyes as wide as saucers as he stared. Heh, I didn't know you was actually a chick, baby, but don't think that giving us a little show will loosen our lips. Gozu grunted, ogling the Naruko that had addressed him. Oh honey, the Naruko said in a honey tone, licking her lips. We haven't even gotten started yet. Ready for a puff? She asked, squeezing her together as she approached Gozu. Yes. Gozu yelled happily, standing at full mast now, blood leaking from his nose in a steady stream. Mizu, for his part, could only stare stupidly as a pair of Narukos approached him, his face on the same level as their waists. Well then, purred the one, her breasts inching closer and closer to Gozu's face. Demonic harem technique. They all suddenly yelled out, a huge cloud of smoke covering them all. What the hell? Gozu squawked, startled, as his face was suddenly buried in the cleavage of a pair of large hairy man dash. Oh ja. Do you like Z poof poof? Asked a high-pitched voice, the smoke clearing away to reveal that the clearing was now filled with large, super-fat hairy blonde guys. Ja. We are going to have so much fun. Squealed another of the fat guys as he and another pressed their obese bellies against Mizu's face, causing the poor man to throw up and almost faint when they finally pulled away. Are you ready to talk yet? One of them tittered. Gozu, on the other hand, was breathing raggedly as the Naruto pulled away, leaving his face covered in a sheen of sweat and chest hair, some of which he spit out of his mouth. Fuck you, you fat son of a bitch. I ain't telling you shit, he yelled defiantly. Oh, you naughty boy. Twid the Naruto that had given him the devil's puff. If you are going to be that way, then we will just have to use the sphincterema, he exclaimed, sending all of the others into a tizzy, clapping their hands excitedly as they chanted sphincterema over and over. Did he just say? Gozu started, looking at his brother. Sphincterema? Mizu finished weakly, gulping. Ja! Exclaimed one of the Narutos, as he and several others grabbed both Gozu and Mizu by their legs, forcefully spreading them apart as the others parted, revealing just one at the far back, his back turned to them. Turning around, he revealed that he was wearing a black welder's mask, and was holding something in his hands that could only be described in the most horrible of nightmares: a jackhammer with a 2-foot obsidian dildo that was covered in jagged razors in place of a hammerhead. Are you ready? The masked figure asked, his voice considerably deeper and more menacing than his brethren, and pulled the ripcord on the jackhammer, the machine roaring to life as the dildo began to thrust back and forth ominously. At the temporary campsite, everyone looked up as a grinning Naruto finally appeared, several minutes after the heart-wrenching screams and pleas had stopped. How did it go, Naruto? Kakashi asked nonchalantly, stirring a pot of beans. Naruto shrugged his shoulders, taking a seat on a log. They started singing after I brought out the toy before I could actually use it on them. Not that I would have, of course. I'd never put my shadow clones through such a disgusting ordeal, he replied, taking a sip from a canteen. They did, however, tell me a lot of interesting things, though. Something about a man named Gato, who has hired high-ranked Nukenin to kill you, I do believe? He asked flatly, looking at a cowering Tazuna. Kakashi's visible eye widened at that. Gato? Tell me that you aren't talking about I'm a billionaire shipping company owner Gato, he exclaimed in disbelief, looking at Tazuna as well. The old man sighed, hanging his head. Yeah, that's him, he replied heavily. I'm sorry, to all of you, for deceiving you like this, but I'm afraid I didn't have a choice. You see, he gulped, heaving another sad sigh. Gato has all but completely taken over our small island, and he is slowly, but surely choking the life out of us, hoping to get rid of us after he's extracted all of the profits that he can so that he can build a grand resort for the elite. I didn't want to have to do things like this, but I really don't see much of an option anymore. Unfortunately, even with all of the money I could gather, the only thing I could afford was a C-rank mission. He trailed off sadly. Kakashi sighed, scratching the back of his head. Man, this is bad, we're way in over our heads on this one, he muttered, looking at Tazuna, then back to his team, who were conversing among themselves. What's up? He asked, curious. After a few seconds more of talking, the three young teens simultaneously nodded their heads to each other, then turned to face Kakashi and Tazuna. We're ready for this, Kakashi-sensei. We can't just leave those people to suffer, believe it! Naruto exclaimed, thrusting his fist out. Sakura nodded. Besides, it would look bad on Konoha if we took this mission, then quit at the first sign of danger, but if we manage to succeed, then it'll reflect really well on the village. She agreed. Sasuke grunted agreeably as well. Kakashi sighed, scratching his head as he turned to Tazuna. Well, looks like you still have our services, Tazuna-san. But you'd better not be holding anything else out on us. He deadpanned, giving the old man a gimlet stare. Tazuna, too choked up to say anything, could only bow deeply to the team. The team and Tazuna were walking along quietly, on the alert for anything, when Naruto suddenly sprung into action, throwing several shuriken into some nearby underbrush, startling everyone else with his sudden movements. Going over to investigate, Sakura found a frightened snow-colored rabbit cowering there, shuriken having peppered the area around it. What the hell, Naruto? You almost killed a cute little bunny! She berated, bopping Naruto on the head. I didn't know. I'm sorry, Mr. Bunny! Naruto cried out, shaking the poor bunny, which was now frothing at the mouth in a dead faint. Kakashi observed the rabbit, his visible eye narrowing. That's no normal bunny, it's been kept indoors. Whoever it was, Naruto managed to sense them and they barely got away with a substitution jutsu, he mused thoughtfully, surreptitiously scanning the area there. Get down! He yelled, tackling Tazuna to the ground as the genin ducked, a large blade sailing overhead, just inches above them, before angling upwards and slamming into a tree. Well, what do we have here? I do believe that it's the infamous copycat Kakashi. Suddenly, a tall, skinny, shirtless man appeared, standing on the handle of the blade, the lower portion of his face hidden in bandages. It's an honor, Demon Zabuza, Kakashi replied sarcastically, standing up. Zabuza opened his mouth to reply Naruto, and was promptly interrupted by the pink-haired girl behind Kakashi, surprising everyone when she spoke up. Yeah? Naruto asked quietly, glancing in Sakura's direction. You are never, ever, allowed to predict what's going to happen on a mission ever again. Everyone, even Zabuza, face-faulted at that. Everyone stood in the lightly misted clearing, looking at Sakura with deadpan expressions, huge sweat drops forming on the back of their heads. Sakura? Naruto asked, chuckling nervously while scratching the back of his head. Sakura looked between everyone. What? You know it's true. And I know you guys agree with me. She snapped, pointing at Kakashi and Sasuke, who were standing close together. Mao, don't include me in this, Kakashi said, holding his hands up in defense. Zabuza sighed heavily, massaging his temples with one hand. Thanks a lot, kid, way to ruin the dramatic ambience there. He snapped irritably, getting the pinkhead's attention. How the heck are Kakashi and I supposed to set up an awesome pre-battle rapport where we both surreptitiously get ready to kill one another if you go around screaming about your teammate prophesizing about stuff, huh? Don't you have any respect for your seniors? He continued to berate Sakura. I mean seriously. Here me and Kakashi were, gearing up to have an awesome battle that would probably change the way you kids see things, And you interrupt us? How rude! Sakura's mouth dropped open as Naruto, Sasuke, and Tazuna face-faulted at Zabuza's words. Wait, what? What? What the heck are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. She screeched, pointing at Zabuza accusingly. Kakashi-sensei, can you believe what this buffoon is saying? She asked, looking at her teacher incredulously. I actually have to agree with Zabuza on this. You did a pretty bang-up job of killing the tension there. Kakashi replied sheepishly, scratching the back of his head. Listen, when the big boys are playing, you should just sit back and watch, okay? This is a valuable learning experience after all. He nodded, agreeing wholeheartedly with Zabuza. Sakura gaped like a fish, her mouth working open and closed soundlessly as she looked at her sensei in abject shock. Wait, are you he finally? She hung her head in defeat, exhaling loudly. Idiots, I'm surrounded by idiots, she despaired, shuffling her feet as she got into formation with Naruto and Sasuke. Kakashi I smiled, looking up at Zabuza. Well, now that that's out of the way, shall we continue our pre-battle banter? Where were we again? He asked his enemy. Zabuza waved a hand dismissively. Forget it, Kakashi, the brat completely killed the mood. I don't feel like talking anymore. He crouched down, reaching between his legs to grab the handle of his massive weapon. Let's just get the fight on with already. With that, he disappeared with his sword, flickering back into view on top of a nearby pond, already forming a hand seal as he channeled his chakra, his eyes closed in concentration. Shit! Kakashi swore, grabbing the underside of his headband. You guys stay out of this. Zabuza is out of your league. He ordered, hefting his protector up to reveal a fully matured Sharingan eye. I'm probably going to have to go full out on this one. Sasuke tensed, Kakashi being turned enough so that the team could see his special eye. That's the Sharingan. But how? I thought only my clan possessed it. He thought, his eyes widening at the shock as he opened his mouth to say something. Whoa! Kakashi-sensei. You've got a really bad case of pink eye. You sure you can handle this? Naruto called out, cupping his hands around his mouth, causing everyone to fall over in a face fault, sweat dropping, and, as a consequence, causing Zabuza to lose his concentration as he fell over as well, his chakra dissipating harmlessly. God damn it, Kakashi! Can't you get your stupid SS genin to keep from making fucking dumb SS remarks every 5 seconds? Zabuza screamed shrilly, getting back up. Ever since we started, all I've fucking heard is oh Kakashi-sensei, my teammate is an idiot. Or man, that looks like a pretty bad case of pink eye. Or even look at me, I'm some prissy pants emo boy who's too stuck up to say anything. I mean seriously. How stupid can they be? He demanded, pointing at the genin, ignoring the fact that Sasuke had indeed refrained from saying anything, and really didn't need to be lumped in with the other two, as he was actually obeying orders. Not that it stopped Sasuke from pouting a bit, glaring at Zabuza over the emo remark, and inadvertently proving the Rouge Jonin's point. Kakashi's sweat dropped, scratching the back of his head sheepishly. Mao, sorry about my team Zabuza, but they are genin fresh out of the academy, having only graduated 2 weeks ago. He replied, somewhat defending his team's antics. Zabuza sighed, rubbing his eyes again. Yup, he could definitely feel a headache forming. He could only hope that it didn't become a migraine. Really? He deadpanned. A fresh off the farm team, and you actually brought them on a C rank? Are you really that arrogant when it comes to your own abilities? He asked, his voice flat. Kakashi waved a hand dismissively. Mao, they actually are that good. Believe it or not, you've got to remember, your being here kind of ups the level of the mission just a little bit. He replied, holding his thumbs and forefingers apart to help visualize how much tougher the mission was. But yes, my skills are just that good. Zabuza facepalmed, resisting the urge to smack his head against a tree. I hate to say it, but I agree with the pink-headed harpy. He stated blandly. Huh? Kakashi tilted his head to the side in curiosity, while Sakura let out a squawk of indignation. Zabuza pulled down the lid of one of his eyes with a middle finger, flipping Kakashi off and making a face somewhat anyway at him at the same time. You guys are all idiots, you stupid scarecrow head. Gray-haired old man. He taunted. Mao, you're so mean, Zabuza. Kakashi complained. There's no reason for that kind of talk. Why don't we just have a nice, friendly fight to the death? He asked hopefully. Zabuza smirked under his bandages, crouching slightly. Don't worry, I was already planning on killing you, he started, his hands suddenly blurring through several seals as 10 water clones formed, bum-rushing Kakashi with their swords drawn. But I'm gonna kill those stupid genin and the old drunk first. He yelled, body flickering towards the team, appearing in front of the blonde-headed brat, his cleaver already raised over his head as he grinned wickedly. Sexy jutsu. And a beautiful blonde bombshell appeared in the kid's place. And she was naked. Hubba hubba. Zabuza exclaimed, the bandages around his nose beginning to redden, even as Tazuna, who had been standing behind Naruto, passed out from a massive nosebleed when he caught sight of the backlash. Kaya! A pervert! Naruto screamed in mock fear. Eat this, you dirty old man! She yelled out, lifting her leg back as far as she could go. Then nailing the former Miss Shinobi with a shin to the pork and being so hard that it actually lifted Zabuza off his feet a little, causing his eyes to cross as he grabbed his abused crotch and let out a silent shriek of pain, even as Naruto made a cross-shaped hand sign, a Naruto shadow clone popping up behind the pain Jonin in a crouch grinning evilly as he made the tiger seal. Now, time for you to taste Konoha most prized taijutsu. 1,000 years of pain! The clone yelled, ramming Zabuza with a chakra-powered ass poke, sending the thoroughly beaten Jonin flying through the air until he smacked face first into a tree, slowly sliding down it, his ass smoking from the power it had been hit with. Oh yeah! He shoots, he scores! Naruto cheered, transforming back as he and his clone pumped their fists in victory. Another win over a Jonin! I'm on fire, baby! I'll be Hokage in no time at this rate! Sasuke and Sakura looked at each other, sweat dropping at the sheer lunacy of it all. Did that just happen? I'm hallucinating, right, Sasuke-kun? Naruto really didn't just beat a Jonin, with two of the world's stupidest jutsu, did he? Right. Sasuke-kun? Sakura asked, her voice weak. Sasuke grunted, looking pointedly away with a light blush on his face. Good job, Naruto. Kakashi congratulated, appearing beside his blonde student and giving him a high five. Excellent use of both your jutsu and the taijutsu I taught you, he praised. Now then, I'll just finish off Zabuza, and we'll be on our way, he announced, pulling a kunai from his waist pouch. Before he could even move forward, however, two Saban came flying in, piercing Zabuza's neck, a masked figure appearing beside his corpse a moment later. Thank you? For helping me apprehend the criminal Zabuza Momochi. My job would have been very difficult otherwise. The masked ninja monotoned, picking Zabuza's body up. It's no problem, Hunter Nin-san, Kakashi replied with an easy wave. Glad we could help. Well then, I shall take my leave, the Hunter Nin replied, visibly sweat dropping at the apparent legend's nonchalance. Hey! A voice butted in. Looking over, the Hunter Nin was surprised to find the young blonde that had defeated Zabuza so handily in such a stupid fashion had managed to get close, seemingly suspicious of the whole thing. You've got a sexy voice, baby, he suddenly said in a deep voice, putting on the charm as he looked at the masked figure with bedroom eyes, stroking his chin thoughtfully. Everyone's mouths dropped open at that. Was Naruto really trying to hit on this seemingly random person right after a big fight? Well, maybe it hadn't been a big fight, but still. Excuse me. The masked Nin squeaked, disappearing with Zabuza's body. Hey. Come back. Naruto whined, looking around for his escaped prey. Kakashi's sweat dropped at his student's antics, when he felt a presence behind him. Turning around, he was surprised to find Sasuke glaring at him while Sakura tried to wake Tazuna. Something the matter, Sasuke? He asked, curious. Where did you get that Sharingan from? That's supposed to be a bloodline ability exclusive to the Uchiha clan, Sasuke demanded. Kakashi chuckled nervously, pulling his headband down over his eye. Oh no! I'm passing out from chakra exhaustion, he cried out in mock dismay, pitching to the side in an obviously faked feint, his visible eye clenched shut. Kakashi-sensei! Sasuke's annoyed yell echoed through the forest. Several minutes later, the ninja carrying Zabuza's body finally stopped, not feeling anyone behind them, and figuring that it was finally safe to stop. Looking around one last time to make sure there was no one else around, the ninja set Zabuza's prone body on the ground, then pulled out a medical working kit, unrolling a portion of it to reveal several nasty-looking cutting implements, choosing a pair of scissors from among them. Now then, to drain the excess blood, the ninja murmured, moving the scissors towards the wraps that covered Zabuza's face. Without warning, a hand reached up, snatching the ninja's wrist and stopping it cold. Wait, Zabuza gasped, his eyes popping open as he reached up with his other hand and pulled down the bandages covering his mouth, taking in a deep gulp of air as he sat up. Man, you are one sadistic kid, Haku. You could have aimed somewhere else, you know, he grumbled, roughly jerking the needles out of his neck. The newly revealed Haku sighed. Zabuza-sama, you really shouldn't be so rough with those needles, you know. If you pull them out wrong, you really will die, you know. Zabuza snorted, laying back on the grass. Take that mask off, it gives me the creeps. Slowly, Haku reached up and grasped the mask, pulling it off to reveal an exquisitely beautiful, feminine face, framed by a pair of long bangs, chocolate-colored eyes observing Zabuza with a hint of amusement. I must say, Zabuza-sama, I didn't expect you, of all people, to fall for such a juvenile combination attack like that. What happened? Zabuza growled, remembering his humiliation at the hands of the blonde-haired idiot. You can't even say that he beat me. The little bastard caught me by surprise with a naked woman. What guy wouldn't be stunned by something like that? He demanded. Haku laughed lightly behind a hand. Well, despite your protests, it did seem to work on you, didn't it? I do seem to remember you being knocked unconscious after all. Zabuza growled warningly, before a light bulb seemed to flash over his head as an idea formed. Heh, well then, Haku-kun, I suppose next time you will have to take on the blonde bastard, huh? Yes, that should do just nicely, he chuckled evilly. Haku could only blush lightly, looking down at the ground. There's only one thing I'm wondering though, Zabuza grunted, getting Haku's attention. What would that be, Zabuza-sama? Zabuza mulled over the thoughts in his head. How did Kakashi fall for our ruse so easily? I mean, if he was on the verge of passing out I could understand, but he was nowhere near his limit, not against 10 clones. Something doesn't make sense there. I couldn't possibly tell you, Zabuza-sama. Meanwhile, Team 7 were trekking towards Tazuna's house, Kakashi being carried on a makeshift stretcher between two of Naruto's clones. Man, how much longer, Tazuna? We're tired of lugging this deadweight around. One of the clones complained, only to get a slap to the back of the head by an irate Sakura. Oh, but Sakura-chan! The clone whined. No buts! Sakura butted in. You are a shinobi, so act like it! She griped, berating the clone while Naruto and Sasuke kept scanning the area. Tazuna laughed boisterously at that, reading Ika Ika with one hand while holding his sake jug in the other. Don't worry, kiddo, we're almost there, he replied as they exited the woods, coming out into a clearing with a large lake sitting in the middle, a modest house built over the shallows of one side. Well, speak of the devil. Tsunami! Inari! We're home! He exclaimed, calling out loudly. Before any of the team could respond, the front door to the house opened up, revealing a stunningly beautiful woman in her early 30s, her long black hair flowing behind her as she came out of the house. Father! You're home! She exclaimed happily, rushing towards the group, her arms wrapping around Tazuna in a tight hug. I was so worried about you. How was your trip? She asked, then noticed the team standing behind the old man. Oh, hello there, she greeted, bowing her head slightly. And who might you all be? She asked curiously. Sakura cleared her throat, fixing to introduce the team, when Naruto but bumped her out of the way, imposing himself right in front of Tsunami, slightly startling the woman. Why hello there, my lovely Haim. You may call me Naruto Uzumaki, though I am afraid that I cannot bring myself to call you anything other than Angel, for your radiance far outshines even this beautiful place that you and your family live in. He purred seductively, taking one of Tsunami's hands in his own and kissing it, looking up at her through half-lidded eyes. Tsunami for her part smiled brightly, a light blush dusting her cheeks. Why aren't you just a little cutie? She asked, bending forward and giving Naruto an unintentional close-up view of her impressive cleavage as she tousled his hair. Naruto grinned, scratching the back of his head, but before he could say anything else, Sakura appeared behind him and bopped him on the back of his head, causing Naruto to cry out in pain as he crouched down, cussing while he cradled his bruised cranium. Please excuse my teammate's rude behavior. I don't know what's come over him, Sakura said with a sheepish grin, bowing to Tsunami. Anyway, I'm pleased to meet you, Tsunami-san. We are Team 7, and my name is Sakura Harino. The dark-haired boy over there is our teammate, Sasuke Uchiha. You know the knucklehead Naruto already. And the man laying on the stretcher is our team leader, Kakashi-sensei. Sakura introduced. In response, Kakashi let out a rather loud snore. Oh my, what happened to your sensei? Tsunami asked worriedly. Sakura shrugged. Well, he's claiming chakra exhaustion, but I couldn't really tell you. We ran into trouble on the way, but handled it accordingly, she explained. Tsunami's eyes widened at that. Trouble? Oh no, are you sure you all are alright? Please come right in and I'll take care of everything, she said, ushering everyone towards the house. Later that day, Kakashi finally woke up, startling both Naruto and Sakura, who had been leaning over the man in an attempt to remove his mask to see what he looked like underneath. What's up, guys? Have I been out for long? He asked sheepishly, scratching his head, looking around to get his bearings as the aromatic smell of food drifted into the room. Something smells good, he complimented with an eye smile. Kakashi-sensei, you stupid jerk, you had us worried, Sakura yelled, punching her sensei in the side of the head while he laughed. Mao, sorry Sakura-chan, but I didn't mean to worry you, Kakashi apologized, waving his hand dismissively, obviously not sincere at all in his apology. Before anyone could chime in, Sasuke was standing in front of Kakashi, His arms crossed over his chest as he glared down at the man. That Sharingan, how did you acquire it? He demanded. I know you aren't part of the Uchiha clan, but the Sharingan is a dojutsu that is specific to my clan's bloodline only, so how? Naruto would have berated his teammate, but he and Sakura were both genuinely curious as well, the two of them sitting off to the side, listening intently. Kakashi sighed, his eye cutting over to the other two briefly before turning back on Sasuke. Reaching up with one hand, he grasped the underside of his headband and pulled it up, revealing the three-tomo Sharingan eye that had been transplanted into his socket. This he started heavily, tracing the scar that ran down his face. Is a constant reminder, from my best friend, that no matter the mission, your comrades should always come first. He was unlike anyone in your clan, and was one of the greatest shinobi that I ever knew. His voice was reverent, heavy with emotion. This caught the three genin by surprise. Your teammate? Who was he? What was he like? Sasuke asked. He never knew of anyone from the clan that didn't act their place, as the elite police force of the village. Kakashi grinned, obviously lost in thought as he remembered some of the better times with his old team. Actually, you guys remind me of my old team from back when I was a genin. You are almost exactly the same as I used to be, and Sakura, yeah, just the same. Crush and all, but Obito Uchiha was just like you, Naruto, minus the awesome perversity, of course, he said, causing Sasuke and Sakura to face fault at that last part, while Naruto just beamed. Sasuke grunted, finally regaining his composure. So does that mean that you know how to unlock the Sharingan? He asked, trying not to sound too hopeful. Kakashi smiled at his teammate again. As a matter of fact, I do. Will you teach me? Nope. This caused Sasuke to face fault again. Why the hell not? He demanded, finally losing his composure as he got up, pointing at Kakashi. Because if I did, then the entire thing would be pointless, Kakashi replied with a deadpan. Fortunately though, we are going to be doing quite a bit of training, because good news, everyone's Zabuza isn't dead. Everyone face-faulted yet again. What? Sakura's scream echoed throughout the house, bringing both Tazuna and Tsunami running to see what the problem was. What do you mean Zabuza isn't dead? Tazuna gasped, grabbing at his chest in fright. What? Zabuza isn't dead? Maybe I should just die of a heart attack now, it'd be less painful. He wept comically, large crocodile tears streaming down his face. Kakashi waved a hand dismissively. Mao, don't worry about it everyone, from what I saw, he'll probably be down for about a week or so, which is the perfect amount of time for me to teach you a chakra control exercise that will mysteriously make all of you much more strong than you were before, he said, nonplussed. Naruto's eyes were sparkling at that. Really, Kakashi-sensei? That's awesome, he exclaimed happily. Kakashi smiled again, then looked past his students and Tazuna, to where a vision of loveliness that was standing in the doorway, a worried look on her face. And before anyone could blink, Kakashi was out of bed, leaning against the doorframe with one shoulder, gazing soulfully into Tsunami's eyes. You must be Tazuna's daughter, but he never mentioned how absolutely stunning you are. Though, I don't doubt that anything he could have said would have only paled in comparison to actually meeting you in person, he said suavely, taking the surprised Tsunami's hands in his own. You don't have to worry though, I solemnly swear to protect your entire family, even if I have to lay down my life to do so. The look in his eye was solemn, uncompromising. Oh, my, Tsunami breathed, gazing wide-eyed into Kakashi's unflinching eye, a furious blush spreading across her face. That's so brave of you, Kakashi-san. Kakashi smiled gently. For you, it's nothing short of a privilege, he replied softly, lifting her hands and placing a light kiss on each through his mask. If possible, Tsunami's blush only grew, while everyone else's mouths dropped. Kakashi-san, she breathed. Man, ain't this some bullshit? Naruto complained as he pouted, crossing his arms over his chest. Not that it kept him from mentally taking some notes to better woo girls in the future, though Kakashi did seem to indeed be a pro. A few days later found Zabuza laying in a bed while Haku sat at his side, tending to his every need. Currently, he was glaring at his employer, Gato, as well as the two thugs who were standing behind him, trying to look menacing. What do you want, Gato? He growled, trying to look as menacing as he could from his bed. I heard that you got taken out by some stupid team from Konoha that Tazuna hired. What am I even paying you for, if you can't take down a single team from that place? What do you have to say for yourself? Gato demanded in response, snarling. How Haku started, only to have Zabuza hold up a hand in warning. Listen up, you stupid runt. The person leading that stupid team is none other than Kakashi Hatake, one of the most powerful ninja in the world, and his team aren't exactly pushovers either. I'll kill them, you can count on it, but I'm not just gonna go rushing in blindly when I'm not even fully recovered yet. So just sit back and let me do my job the way it needs to be done, you fuzzy little gnome. Zabuza retorted, managing to come off as much more intimidating than Gato ever could dream of being. What? Why, you? Gato growled angrily, clenching his fists as his 2 Ronin bodyguards stepped in front of him, starting for the handles of their katana. Only for Haku to appear between them, holding their weapons to their own throats while sending a glare Gato's way. You had best watch your tongue when dealing with Zabuza-sama, lest you lose it and your life. Haku said in a tone that conveyed nothing but deadly intent, the swords grazing against the necks of the 2 mercenaries, drawing thin beads of blood. Gato gulped in the face of such an icy glare, backing up a few steps towards the door, his men following in his wake, Haku still holding both of their swords. WH whatever. Just make sure you get the job done, he demanded, quickly leaving as Haku finally tossed the blades to their owners with a derisive snort. When they finally left, Zabuza snorted. You didn't have to do that, you know, I could have handled things myself, he said, showing that he had a kunai hidden underneath the sheets of his bed. Haku smiled happily. I know you could have, but you shouldn't have to sully your hands with trash like them. Zabuza's response was to sigh, bored out of his mind. You never let me have any fun, he grumbled. At that same moment, Naruto sighed as he sat on the edge of the lake, looking bored. Man, I never get to have any fun, he grumbled. Sitting on guard duty was so boring. He couldn't even train at tree walking at the moment, because it was his turn to watch over the property while Sasuke and Sakura escorted Tazuna and his grandson Inari to the bridge because the old man wanted to teach his grandson the ropes and show him what he did during the day, not that the whiny little brat would appreciate it. Naruto sighed again, just knowing that something was going to happen and he would have to open the kid's eyes. Heck, Kakashi was still in the house recovering, so why did he even have to sit on guard duty anyway? Speaking of the tree walking exercise though. Flashback 3 days earlier. Naruto sat at the base of his tree, glaring up at it hatefully while Sasuke tried to take another run up his own, only to be pushed off and forced back to the ground. Man, this sucks, Naruto complained loudly. Looking over, he saw his other teammate, Sakura, going over a scroll that she'd brought along, and an idea came to him. Hey Sakura-chan, can you help me out? He pleaded, getting up and trotting over to the pinkette. Huh. Sure, what do you want to know, Naruto? Sakura asked, looking up from her scroll curiously. Naruto crossed his arms, squinting. Can you tell me how you did it? He asked, tilting his head to the side. Sakura shook her head, smiling. Sure thing, Naruto. With that, she launched into a detailed explanation while Naruto, and even Sasuke, though he tried to act like he wasn't, listened intently. After several minutes, Sakura finished her lecture. There, see how easy it is? She asked with a smile, patting Naruto on the shoulder before turning around to pick her scroll back up. Wah! You're too good to me, Sakura-chan! Naruto cried out, grabbing the girl in a tight hug from behind, his hands snaking around to cup her I love you so much. He giggled pervertedly, smushing her breasts together while he tweaked her nips through her clothes. Kya! Naruto, you fucking pervert! Sakura screamed shrilly, twisting around to grab him in a headlock. Power bomb! She roared, throwing herself backwards, planting Naruto headfirst into the dirt, his twitching body sticking up like a giant orange flower, his legs splayed open. It was worth it, came Naruto's muffled reply. Then Sakura landed an axe kick to Naruto's nads. A weak nevermind came after several minutes of girlish screaming, of course. End flashback. Naruto remembered that day with a grimace, not understanding why Sakura was becoming so violent with him. After all, it wasn't like he was doing anything bad, right? Yeah. He was paying her a compliment. After all, if she was completely flat, he wouldn't even bother. Aha! A shrill scream suddenly cut through the air, breaking Naruto out of his thoughts. The enemy! Naruto cussed lightly, darting to his feet and taking off in a dead run towards the house, making several shadow clones to surround the house to take it from all sides, he himself rushing in through the front door as he drew a pair of kunai, ready for anything. Where is Kakashi-sensei and Tsunami-chan? He asked quietly, looking around for the missing duo. Finding them nowhere downstairs, Naruto immediately went for the second floor, ghosting up the steps while gripping his kunai loosely. Hearing muffled grunts coming from the direction of Tsunami's room, Naruto rushed the door, throwing it open. To find Tsunami and Kakashi in Tsunami's bed, their nude, sweat-covered bodies entwined, Tsunami moaning in pleasure as Kakashi pounded her, one leg wrapped around his waist and the other up over his shoulder, while he drilled her fast and hard. WH Naruto gaped stupidly, a trickle of blood starting to run from his nose. Looking up from what he was doing, Kakashi spotted Naruto standing in the doorway, impersonating a fish. Giving his blonde student an eye smile and a thumbs up, Kakashi turned his attention back to Tsunami, speeding up his thrusts and making the woman moan louder, her large, pert breasts flopping up and down with each thrust. Naruto sighed loudly, closing the door. Man, ain't this some bullshit? He complained, heading back to his post. The next night, after an intense day of training for both Sasuke and Naruto while Sakura guarded Tazuna, and Kakashi still recovered, they were all sitting around the dinner table, Naruto and Sasuke exhausted, though still trying to outdo one another by being the one to not only eat the most, but also finish first, and then they both threw up. Hehe, not bad, Sasuke, but you won't outdo me, Naruto exclaimed,